Here we go.
Here we go. Let's have a good show.
1B, stand by.
Yeah.
Yacht, stand.
Yeah,
Take it.
take it at midfield. Just go
Take
right
it.
now.
Take
Go to
it.
camera 3.
Can
3.
you
Go
pull-
to the get
Thank you.
just like that.
I'll just go ahead.
Yeah, graphics 2 is going to be up for the first. Okay.
Take
Go right now. Go to camera 3. Go. Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Can you
go to the get
Hurry
just
up.
like that. No music.
I'm going to hand to Q, Sophie.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Radio.
Fine, I'm
on
gonna
radio
hand
in the Canal Zone.
All right, guys, mic check.
Yeah, go ready.
Okay, Ricky, mic.
Wait for it.
Yep, I am ready.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. 2.5.
Willie, mic check.
Yep, let's go.
1B, stand.
10,
couple minutes.
9, 8,
1B, stand.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
5,
4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Okay, and go for it, guys.
All right, here we go. Let me turn that one off. What did I do? Keep doing that.
Where are we, Willie?
No, there we are. Here we are. I hit the wrong button. I just
We were out
switched these
the
buttons
owl show there or
We
something.
were just for a minute. Well, that's what happens. You're a little bit rusty. You know, it is still 8 p.m. Eastern.
Week,
It's
one week off in like 24 plus another 6 months. Oh man, I made a whole.
It seems like it's
I
been a
can't
long
even tell
time.
you.
It's our first Friday off that we
First
earned it.
Friday
but
off,
anyhow.
right on.
So let's kick it off the right way, though. 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and 7 p.m. Canal Zone time. It's Happy at the Balboa Yacht Club. Welcome back, Ricky. Happy Friday to you, man.
Yes, it is, guys. Thank you, like always, Willie and I, from the bottom of our hearts. We're always so happy to be here with you on Friday. It's just a great feeling to be back, 1 week off. But as we always say, this is a place where everybody knows your name, and there's something special about that. Yeah. But anyways, welcome to our happy hour at the Balboa Yacht Club. It's a podcast all about the Canal Zone history, the Panama Canal. So, now we're adding some architecture into this, and some music into this, and some Canal Zone images into this, and some excavation projects into this. So it's become quite the Canal Zone community here.
Yes,
Guys, we're coming to you live from the back from the Balboa Yacht Club. A lot of you guys know the place quite well. It was our meeting point. Thursday night was a special night there at the Balboa Yacht Club. That's when the Panamanian kids, Willie, would come and join us. And you know what, Willie? Normally when the two communities would come together in sports or whatever it was, girlfriends, boyfriends, there was always wars, fights of all kinds.
Yeah,
At
it was
the
a
Yacht
rivalry.
Club, it never was. There was
It was
never
like neutral ground in a
any
ways. Well, I mean, there was a couple of brawls there, but that was mostly Friday night. You're right. Thursday night was a more
Thursday
mellow
night was
night.
the Thursday night because the Panamanians were. And so cheers to that, man, for that.
Salute.
But it was a building that had 3 bars, an upstairs bar, a middle bar, and a lower bar, and then it had a one on the side called the Midnight Chicken Coop. So all of the kids would come there because as long as you can pay, you can drink in Panama when we were growing up.
Yeah,
And,
it was our hangout, man. That was
our
that
hangout.
was the watering hole for the
was.
Pacific Side Canal Zone, without a doubt.
Friday night, and this is why we call this the Balboa Yacht Club at Happy Hour at the Balboa Yacht Club, because Friday night was strictly Zonian kids, and
absolutely.
I don't know what time we got there, but I know we got there early because that's where everybody would go first.
You'd go to the middle bar early and hang out at the middle bar. And then you'd, upstairs the dance and the party would kick off.
Right, and the parties would kick off, or you would go to different places.
The school year kind of dictated the tone because summer vacation, remember, being in the zone, a lot of times people's summer vacation were in the States, right? And so,
and the ones that stayed, we would just go to the beach.
Correct, exactly. So it was a different vibe in the summertime. But once school started, the first week of school, you were hitting the first Friday night football game. And so that was the other thing, is that the crowd would really show up after the football game, especially if it was a Red Machine Bulldogs game. It was definitely a later crowd because everybody stayed for the game. And so, after that, it was Yacht Club till, 1 o'clock, whatever, and then...
Or wherever the party could be, because there was a skating club, there was the Gamboa place, there was places in Panama.
No doubt,
But Friday was, this is why we're here, we used to have the background, but now we love this background, at the Balboa Yacht Club. And it was a place where you started out your Friday night, unless there was a special event, and everybody had their place at the bar. And that was your spot.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Everybody had their place either at the bar, which was like a Z. It was like, that way, then this way, and then that way. And then there was all the
That's what architects
tables.
do. They look at shit like that. But.
And they had the tables, and everybody had a spot, and that was your spot. So, anyways, that is the Canal Zone Balboa Yacht Club, with the Happy Hour at the Balboa Yacht Club.
Yeah,
Guys,
indeed.
thank you so much. That was a
Well,
long
let me tell you
intro,
what,
man.
Holy cow, that was, man. But anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Appreciate
1
you. man.
hour later, we're in segment
Holy
one.
cow,
Hey,
man.
sorry, guys. We just
Yikes.
missed you. So, cheers
yeah,
to a good show. Willie will tell you all about it.
Yeah, we do have a great show. Obviously this is post reunion, as you can tell. That's why we were off last week, and it was a great reunion. A lot of fun, as always. Reunions are great fun. Anytime you have a large group of Zonians getting together, you're guaranteed to have a great time. There's no ands, if, or buts about it, and this one was no different. It was a really good time. For me, it was my 40th, so that was fun to see my class of '86 friends out there, and some that I hadn't seen in years, and and a lot of them haven't changed at all. And it was great. It was just a lot of fun. And then, of course, your regular reunion routines. The one disappointment I did have was the traffic driving out was horrendous. What's normally about an hour drive was almost 2.5 hours for me because it was bumper to bumper. And when I got there, I missed seeing Paul Shamella. I really wanted to see his talk. Remember, he was on our show, the Navy SEAL guy. He became the first, or not the first, but he came in the commanding officer of Naval Special Forces.
Yeah.
And he arrived 2 days after Just Cause, and it was a really fun interview. And he's got a great series of books, and I was really looking forward to getting. I even had the book in my bag to get him to sign it and everything. Yeah, and so it was cool. But somebody told me that he did mention our show, which was really nice that he he brought that up as well. But
and we do have a surprise for you too, right, Willie?
Yeah, we do absolutely.
We
fingers crossed. We're working on it. If we can get the connection, it's a little bit wonky.
Connection, but you guys will be the first to see.
Yeah, we have bad weather here right now, and someone in the chat just wrote it. We'll throw it up here in just a moment. But we have what's interesting. You look on the if you look on a weather map, on a radar map, if this storm was sitting outside of Tampa in August or September, everybody would be worried, right? Because you'd think, oh no, hurricane. But this thing kind of just came in from the Gulf from up north and came down over the water. And it has all the characteristics of a hurricane or tropical storm, except it hasn't been over warm water long enough, so it has no strength. But it's been lightning and rain and wind all day today, and it's supposed to be that way for the next couple of days.
Yeah,
So
sounds like July in Panama.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like working on the Culebra Cut,
where
which
it
we're
would
gonna
rain
talk about.
twice a week. First
Yeah.
for 3 days, and then 4 days.
Well, it's interesting you say that because tonight's episode, we're going to go into our excavation series again and talk about 1907, which is when the dirt really started flying in the whole canal construction. And there were some days when they had some, I think they had like 23 inches of rain in a 48-hour period, something just obscene amount of rain. And I read one article where a barge that had been left from the French way back, abandoned. It wasn't even floating, and they had this torrential rain overnight, and it flooded this area, and it actually broke loose and ended up going down the river and floated out into the Caribbean. They had to send a ship out to get it because it just kind of broke loose. But that's the kind of rain you had in Panama. I mean, that's what these guys are facing.
You could see it coming. Remember that?
Yeah,
you can
man.
see the
It was
rain
a
actually
wall,
coming at you,
100%,
and
at
you
an
can
angle.
run past
Yep,
it or whatever.
You got it.
Or the other cool thing was, like, on one side of the street it'd be raining, on the other side of the street it'd be sunny, and I mean
no
like a
kidding.
straight line.
No kidding, man. No
It
kidding.
had these we had some.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It was cool. It was cool. Man.
What a place to grow up, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, and a hell of a place for these people to work, man. And that's what we uncovered some interesting things on the non-working part of canal construction that were, they made it as pleasant as possible, considering what they were going through. And remember, in 1907, these guys are living in barracks in small areas. You don't have the canals that you have now, right? That didn't exist then. So, it really was, they had gotten rid of a lot of the diseases and those problems, but it still wasn't exactly, hey, let's go to Panama.
1907 is when like you said, that's when the dirt started flying, and all the equipment was in place.
Yes,
all the crews were in place.
All the changes had been made.
Stevens was in charge now.
Yes,
and remember,
Goethals. By now, Goethals.
Goethals. Okay, well, Stevens set it all up for him because
Yes,
Stevens is the
correct.
one that really put
He's
all
the one that
policy
changed it into a rail operation from a
and a
excavating
big
operation.
construction project. Remember,
They had the machines
control.
you had the machines that were able to lift the dirt, but when they sat there idle, right, it became, you look at the economy of this thing, and one of the things you think about when you're operating steam, right? Steam, unlike a car, you can, if we have to wait in a excavator today, right? The train's going to be 20 minutes away. What do? You turn the motor off. You couldn't do that back then. This thing was working with a boiler, right? You had started a fire. It's going to go until it goes out. And so you had to be as efficient as possible, and therefore you wanted that thing shoving dirt onto those trains as often as possible with very little, if any, downtime. So this is where Stevens came in and said, wait a minute, let's get our trains going in such a way that these machines never stop. As soon as that one pulls out, the next one pulls in behind it, and they're just constantly filling these guys.
Goethals gets all the credit, but truly, it was set up first by Wallace with all the architects. We've already talked about that.
Yeah.
Then Stevens with controlling everything, getting all the equipment ready, getting all the plans approved. And
I think Wallace's biggest problem was he was too much of a bureaucrat. And when they first started this thing, they were running it from Washington, and he was more than happy with it running that way, and it just proved to be impossible to do anything. They had stuff sitting on rail cars rotting for months because the paperwork rotted. Because the bureaucracy was so bad. So Stevens came in, and like you said, he put it in place, and Goethals came in, and now Goethals was military, remember? The first two resigned, and Roosevelt said, we're not having that anymore. So.
I know, Willie, now you and I can go on we can talk about architecture and construction forever. We
that
got a show to run here, brothers. Let's go. Segment 2.
Do.
Pum, pum, pum. This show is sponsored
by... Let's say hello
by...
to some folks real quick. Let's say hello to people here because
let's do our K-Pasa, sponsored by...
Yes, well, yeah, we're going to do that in just a moment, but we have quite a few people here that I want to say hello to, and Jim, how are you? Hope you're feeling good. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I talked to your kids at the reunion. I saw them at our reunion, in fact, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was good to see you. I hope you're doing well. We're always praying for you, better health and whatnot. So cheers to you, my friend. Happy Friday. Mozart 55 it is going to be a great show. Anytime we do history, I'm in love with it. It's an absolutely fabulous show. So looking forward to it. Welcome back. Yeah, it was, you know what? It was nice to have a Friday off. I'm not going to lie. It's Fridays but it was nice. And especially because the last two reunions, I felt like I was busy doing a lot, and I really don't feel like I got a whole lot of anything done, but I kind of missed out on just hanging out with my friends and
and
doing
your
all
classmates
that
and whatnot.
Yeah,
for
certainly.
sure, man. That's what the reunion is all about.
Absolutely. Chris, how you doing, man? Yeah, man, the whole east
Chris.
part of the U.S. has got a bad storm, man. It's a mess out there, man. So hopefully you're not in the air. Hopefully you're on the ground for that. That's probably a better place to be right now. Good to see you, Mike. Happy Friday to you, my friend. Good evening, Bill. Good to see you.
Hey, Bill Duffus.
I saw Jim at the reunion. It was good to
Thanks.
see.
He sent a hug. So yes, I felt it. Thank you very much for that hug, Mr. Duffus.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, but anyway, yeah, let's go ahead into our K-Pasta. Just a couple of brief announcements. And as always, guys, our K-Pasta now is sponsored by our Canal Zone documentary Substack. So enjoy that, and we'll chat a little bit about that here in a second.
SCN Television presents K-Pasa. And now here's this evening's host, Army Sergeant Bob Foster.
Good evening and welcome to K-Pasa. We've got two guests tonight.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I mean, that's so iconic, Canal Zone, by the way.
That one is. That's an eye-closing one that takes you back.
Yeah,
you hear
we try to be as iconic as possible. Look at
Yeah.
the background, man. How much more iconic
Certainly.
can that be, man?
No, I mean, listen, that's kicking back as a kid, playing with my cars on the floor in the living room and something, and parents are watching TV and they have it on, and SCN's in the background, and you hear that come on, right? And it was just one of those.
And we'd be like where the rock is. Remember that big rock at the top of the stairs? That's where we'd be right now. That was a cool spot up there. It was always windy. It was never hot.
Right. Yeah, you had the ocean.
And you had the
see the ocean
incredible
from there.
view, man, of everything. Canal.
You know, I think-
Balboa kids did take advantage of the administration building.
The only
For
thing
sure,
that we didn't get a lot of at our age was air activity in Albrook. Right, it was very little in the 70s and 80s, like it was prior to that. Right, like imagine before Tocumen, Pan Am, that was their 4-engine turboprops. That's what they landed, and it was there in Balboa. And so now you're on Barnaby or El Prado, and here comes this big 4-engine plane coming in pretty much every day. That was the airport that was used in Panama in the zone.
David told us all about it. Man. It was pretty busy. That was the airport.
Which, by the way, Dave mentioned, he kind of teased it a little bit, that his upcoming Canal Zone history segment is going to be
Beginning of the month.
on the Balboa Theater and Balboa. At the time, it was Balboa School, but then we know it as Balboa Elementary School, right?
That's
The big
very
iconic,
interesting,
which
very
if
interesting,
we're looking down from here in this picture, it's right behind your shoulder. There is the Balboa Elementary School, and
Correct.
remember that was a 3-story building, which had, each floor was a different,
Well,
set
that's
of grades.
good. That's good. That falls right in place with the clubhouse. So we're
Yes.
doing clubhouse next week. Sorry, guys. We just still collecting info on it. As you can imagine, there's not that much info out there on on Canal Zone architecture, but we know where to find it, and we are getting those resources to us.
Yeah.
So next
But-
week
but
we'll be
let's-
ready with the Balboa Yacht Club, with the Balboa clubhouse, and then 2 weeks later we'll have David with the movie theater. So
Yeah,
good,
Balboa
good
Theater and
series.
Balboa Elementary. And what Ricky's talking about, don't forget, guys, if you're not familiar with it, is he's doing now a monthly architecture segment on here that talks about the iconic buildings and even just the styles of, like, my house on Amador Road was a particular style. Those ones on stilts, the wooden ones. Obviously, the ones behind you on El Prado and Barnaby Street were a different style, and the breezeway homes that we learned about that they went to in the 50s was a different style. So that's something he's going to cover a lot of, moving
And
forward.
we'll have some special guests as well.
Yeah.
Every so often, we got Richard Grimison coming up and Matt Tomlin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of my
But
two
as
guests.
as always, guys, if you ever want to see a really really in depth architecture of the canals, and that you want to read about it and learn about it, Edith Crouch or Edith Barkowitz on Amazon has an absolutely fantastic book, and Ricky always mentions
the
it when he does
best
his
money
architecture.
you'll ever spend.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, it is. It's not a cheap book, but let me tell you what, that's a book that somebody comes
$116.
over and reads it. They're like, wow, this is quite a book, because it really is.
Well, here I got it right here. It's what holds up my microphone because it's so thick.
Yeah, there
See,
you
look, the
go.
microphone's way down there with the book. Here's the book.
Yeah. I mean, it covers everything, guys. It's got great photos, images, blueprints, you name it. If you want to learn about the architecture and what it's all about, it's an absolutely fabulous book to get, man. It was, I've enjoyed looking through that quite a bit. I really
And by the way,
appreciate it.
Edith, if you're watching the shows, I know you're one of our viewers. Thank you so much for the books. I really use it.
Indeed, but it's exactly. I mean, and I don't know when Ricky started doing that, that was obviously the go-to was that, because that it puts it in chronological
AI too.
order.
AI does some deep research.
Yeah.
That's what I get to see people's collection. That's how I've
Yes.
gotten a lot of info on the Tivoli. It wasn't just from Canal Zone Images and the book. It was also from AI finding these collections, art collections that rich people buy, and then they hold on to them, and then or they'll have a website, and they sell
Sure.
it. And
Yeah.
that's where I got a lot of information on the Tivoli. Great info.
Speaking of Canal Zone Images, and that's Bill McLaughlin's just absolutely incredible site with so many just absolutely amazing pictures of the Canal Zone in
The
Panama.
history of the Canal Zone's there.
There's a
Photograph.
project that's getting ready to be launched here in August, hopefully, depending on timing, with a new media channel for a lot of things Panama, not just Canal Zone and Canal Zone history. This show obviously is a big part of that, but other documentary style shows, even some up to date today style shows in Panama. There's a lot of people in Panama putting a lot of great content out there. And one of the ways
Yes,
that
yes.
people help each other grow in these channels is to
And
collaborate.
these are well budget, big
Yeah.
budget productions, and it's all Canal
and
Zone
even
history.
small budget, even things like there's a guy, for example, totally digressing here, but in the World Cup, there's been a guy, what's his name, I Speed or We Speed or whatever that guy is. This guy, all he does is he gets on TV and just or on camera, and he just talks about athletics, and he's very bombastic and boisterous and whatever. But let me tell you what, that
song,
guy
by the
was.
way.
But he was front and center at the World Cup with all the athletes and everybody else. I mean, that's, there's people that do that. There's some guys in Panama that put on some really funny content. There's a guy out of Chiriquí that does a really, really cool all about Panama type,
Well,
it's, they've really, there's a lot of real great content coming out of Panama. So we're going to throw some of that in there as well. And one of the things we're going to throw in back on that American and Canal Zone side of it is Canal Zone Images with Bill McLaughlin. and this is
gonna
gonna
be
be where, yeah, he's really excited about doing this, and should be, because he deserves a lot of credit for what he's been able to put together out there. Because if you're ever looking for a
for
picture of anything
years.
Canal Zone, you just go there and you're. I mean, it really has an amazing collection, and it's going to be fun to have him, bring a set of pictures and talk about their history, because this guy also is the official historian of the Pan Canal Society. Keep that in mind. So, he has a great background from the Canal Zone and knows the history of it. He's really, really good at it. So, I'm looking forward to working with him on that, because that's going to be a really, really fun.
That's going to be a treat,
Yeah.
Dave, architecture, excavation, and Bill
Mm-hmm.
McLaughlin. Wow, it's going to be tremendous monthly, every month, guys. Every month.
Well, and this is even, the idea here is there's going to be a channel launch called Zonian TV, and behind that is going to be a lot of different channels. So you can
We're going to have a comisariato
because
there.
there's only so much you can do on a Friday night on this show, right? And before it starts kind of losing its original intent, which was revisit the zone with our friends and share a drink. And
No, we're never going to give that up, man. This is
no,
it, man.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. No, but there's all these other, there's a lot of other content coming out. Expats in Panama are
you're right,
huge,
you're right, you're
man.
right.
There's a lot of that. There's,
You're right.
it really is. It needs a platform, and that's what we're looking to.
We're looking to do. Right on, man. And that's because of you viewers. Thank you so much. That's because of our
Yeah,
sponsors.
even Nodia Garcia with Panama Railroad. He's already agreed
all
to
our
start putting content
sponsors.
out for
Thank
there,
you so much. All of everybody that buys us beers, all that, guys, is going to grow this community, the Zonian community. Because like you always hear everybody say, don't let it die. It's dying. It's dying. But no, it's not. It's not dying. It's becoming solid, We're going to go out with a bang, basically, because we are the last of the Mohicans, man.
No kidding. Exactly. You're absolutely right about that. And let me do something here real quick.
There's the
our
whole
friends and
90s, all the 90 kids, the 90 graduating class. Those
We
guys are
have
still there.
And speaking of announcements, now since we are doing some quick announcements and stuff,
Yes,
and
before we
these
get into-
guys have been on our show a couple of times. Actually, one of them didn't make it because he was in training, but the Gibbs brothers, these guys
champions.
are absolute champions. Look
at those boys.
Continue to win all kinds of tournaments and stuff. And so tomorrow, as a matter of fact, if you're in the Tampa Bay area, in Lakeland, which is only about a 20-minute drive, they're both competing there, and they're looking to take home some cash here. And every time they come home, they bring medals. So I'm assuming that there'll be medals and cash in this one.
Yeah,
here.
I think that dad's going to be happy.
Oh yeah, certainly. So that's but yeah, they're cool. Those guys are great kids, and
I'm
and they're
very good
really
friends.
good,
So are
man.
you, Willie, with their uncle, Paul Gibbs.
Yeah. Paul chimes in. He chimes in from.
Yeah, we'll
from
see
Clayton
Paul
all the
here
time.
come in.
Ciudad del Saber.
Yeah, he's got to clean the house and all that first before his wife lets him on.
Yeah, no doubt. So
Hey, Don Dupree.
good to see you, Don. Happy. It was good to see Don at
And
the reunion as
Don
well.
always buys us beers. Thank you so much, Don, about that,
Yeah,
man.
no,
And,
absolutely.
like I say, we appreciate it so much.
They absolutely do help.
Andrew
you know what?
Reptimanis, Captain, big part of our show. Good to see you.
Yep.
American
A
Legion,
lot of you
yes.
guys helped us raise money for Jim Duffus for
was
his
awesome, Will.
charity golf tournament. He was
Yes,
very
thank
grateful
you.
for that as well. I saw him at the
cheers
reunion.
to all the
It
Zonians, man. That was awesome,
He's
man.
very, very grateful for that. So yeah, exactly. Cheers to you guys. Well done. Job well done, guys. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. Fun memories of the American Legion and sitting those. Yeah, man. Remember that? That was, and then the lower bar, which wasn't as common because it was limited hours, is mostly daytime and whatnot. But that was a cool place sometimes to sneak.
There was
off
a
and
secret
just-
bar up in the American Legion. I don't know if you guys knew about that. But that was a sneak out bar with your girlfriend. You wanted to have a quiet moment, but that was upstairs in the back. See,
Yes,
nobody
yes.
knew that one.
Correct, behind the kitchen area.
Like behind the kitchen area, right? Nice little secret little bar. there, right?
Yes, that's right. So, Lee, good to see you.
Leave,
Was a
Celine, right
great
on,
one.
man.
Yeah, Lee was Ricky,
Oh, Lee Morton.
Yeah,
Oh,
Morton.
hey guys, listen. I know I didn't blow. You see that hill in the background? Well, our construction schedule happened to have a house that we are reinforcing the foundation because it's sliding. So we go in there, we take the job, we put it up on shoring, and what happened at the beginning of the month? Earthquakes everywhere.
That's right.
So
You're right.
I had a house on the side of a hill when the ground is shaking with no foundation on shoring. We're pouring concrete, and this is when the reunion happened. So can you imagine me going to go, hey guys, I'm going to take a week off and
Yeah, I'll be back.
I'll
man.
be back.
Good luck to you though, man. Yeah, no kidding. No
So
kidding.
that's truly what happened. But that happens every year, guys. So when you see me at a reunion,
Right
it's because
on.
we don't have any work. Normally,
There you go.
July we are by far the busiest.
Look at McGee.
You know,
McGee's
by
going to
far.
see his. He's
So
going to
sorry,
see his
sorry
girlfriend,
for
and he's gonna
everybody.
go to
I did
Panama.
promise I'd be there, but I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, no doubt. And he missed out on a good reunion. There was
I
a
know,
couple
it
of
was
good
my
class reunions there.
and my puppy love was there. Veronica Huffman. Cheers to her, man.
See, there you go. There you go. There's that old Pepe Le Pew boy. You can never fail here on this show with that. But McGee, safe travels to you. You're probably in the air by now. If you were lifting up in 2 minutes, 15 minutes ago, it was
Mr. McGee. We gotta get
Hey,
he's gotta
Garrett,
catch us
appreciate
up
you,
with
brother.
his hiking because
Nice
you see
work,
the
man.
hikes that guy takes.
Yeah,
oh
no
my
doubt, man.
God. Hey, there we go. Right on,
Yes,
right
I
on,
heard,
right
man.
on.
Very
Right.
much
Thank you, Mr.
appreciate it, brother.
Ranstoons. Yes, sir. You too. He buys
Absolutely.
a lot of beer. We
Yes, he
appreciate
does.
that.
Eric takes care of us, man. That's a good job there. Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. 1907. You know, the term the dirt fly. It's not thrown around just as another term. It actually was, you know, at the beginning in 1904 when the paperwork was signed and Teddy Roosevelt said, "Hey, let's push forward and build this canal." They went in saying, "Hey, let's go and start digging." And it said, and that was what he was saying. I want to see the dirt fly. And so, you know, Wallace came in. He's like, "All right, let's make the dirt fly." And all of a sudden he realized, what in the hell did we inherit here, man? You know, and
Oh, we got to
and
order
so-
shovels, you know,
Yeah,
and they would have to
yeah.
call
Hey,
Washington
Chris.
to get, hey, right on, right on, right on, right on, right on, right on, right
Yeah,
on, right
man.
on. Thanks,
Right.
thank you, thank
Oh,
you.
man. Yeah, so they realized that they inherited quite the mess, and they were nowhere near ready for it. I don't think they imagined what it entailed, you know, things that they were going to do there. And then, of course, 1905 was when, you know, Wallace lasted a year, and he was like, "I'm out of here." He was a bureaucrat. I think he got replaced. I think they're like, "Dude, you got to go, man," because it really wasn't working.
Right, he was civilian, and
Yeah.
One of the
well,
one
and
of the
so was
reasons the-
Stevens.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when
but one of the
Stevens came
reasons
in,
the
he was a railroad guy.
one of the reasons the French fell from the stuff I've been reading is their workers lived all over the place. There was no control. Some people would
Correct.
show up, some people wouldn't
Correct.
show up, and you know, people got into fights.
Yes.
Yes, right on, everybody, man. Some people again. So that was the whole thing about
Yes.
the canal zone being cut off from everybody else. It wasn't a racist thing or we're
no.
better than you thing. It was just to control the labor force, where they lived, where they ate, so they would go to work every freaking morning.
It's really interesting to hear the conversations. And you know, one of the tools that I use a lot, especially for creating content now more than anything, is it used to be called Notebook LM. They just this morning, as a matter of fact, they changed the name of it to Gemini Notebook, Google's new Gemini Notebook. But one of the features it has is you can upload information in there and it'll create an audio overview. And it has two people basically doing what Ricky and I are doing here, just having a conversation back and forth. But it's a really amazing analysis of whatever subject matter you have. And I've loaded the Canal records since 1905 into this, and it does a real deep analysis for it. And one of the things that fascinates me about it is we tend to think of the government as being so bureaucratic, right? Remember back in the 80s, the $500 wrench and the $2,000
Oh, the $3,000 toilets and all that stuff. Remember
exactly,
that? Yeah, I
because
remember
it was
that.
just the government's way is always overpriced and expensive and not
God, I missed
efficient at
out on
all.
that.
But the canal zone or the canal operation was the opposite. I mean, it was as efficient, almost like an Amazon, where they, down to the 10th of a penny, they calculate everything. They were talking about every locomotive working in the Culebra Cut was entitled to 1 pint of lubricant oil per day. Was what they were using. That is how they were controlling absolutely every facet of that operation. And it came out under budget, ahead of schedule. And just, it's odd to think of that with as much as, we're, hey, pro-America, hey, America, but the government has always been known as very inefficient. But in the canal, that was a model of efficiency like none other, man. And yeah, you're right,
Beginning of
Stevens.
a world empire, 'cause
Yeah.
the United States was not an empire back then. They were
That
like,
was
they were like the 5th or 6th, power. They were
worse
way
than
back
that.
there.
They were worse than that, man. It was,
I think Argentina was probably stronger than us
Right.
back in the day.
Yeah. For example, and this is a little bit later, but I read somewhere else because, reading on some World War II history, going into World War II, the United States was the 19th ranked military in the world. it's hard to fathom, man, that they were not anywhere near considered a formidable opponent.
And that's an example of this is what I'm always promoting this. This is why
Right.
Panama and the United States will always be brothers, no matter how much we fight and this and that. They're not letting go of each other because
Right.
they grew up together, man. One was just a few years older than the other one.
Yep,
That's
no
it.
kidding.
Yep.
But anyhow, so yes, it was. So in 1907 now, as we've every month that we do this, we're covering a year, right? Started with 1904, what went on there. 1904 was a year of a lot of discovery, right? They discovered that the French really just basically dropped the tools and walked out. They didn't pack anything in the crates.
Disaster.
They just said, "Get the hell out of here," and that was it. So their findings of, like I said earlier, this dredge just came up and a barge, and it just suddenly floated. This thing appears floating down the river. Next thing you know, it's out in the ocean. And where the hell did this come from? They found dredges. They found equipment. In Gorgona, they found a massive shop with all kinds. They had a foundry that they found. It was just incredible what they found. And that was 1904. And they said, okay, we took an inventory, figured out what we have here. They started trying to work with it and realized, okay, half of this stuff's crap. A lot of great steel, a lot of good iron, but nothing else. In 1905, Stevens comes in and goes, hey, wait a minute, guys. This is how we're going to do this. So they worked on that. 06 is when they're trying things and getting it all worked out. And that's when they started putting in their big orders. And then 07 came in, and that's when, all right, this is a U.S. operation now. It's a U.S. canal, and the dirt started to fly, man. And that's really when it kicked off. So, yeah, you're absolutely right about that, Captain. And speaking of, we're going to have Captain Andrew join us here up in the next week or two because, coincidentally, he's doing a project for a museum in Panama regarding the excavation of the canal. But what he's doing is he's modeling it. And he's creating an absolutely massive diorama, but extremely accurate. Down to even the trees have just a realistic look to them. Everything about it looks really, really cool. And so we've been exchanging a lot of information on these excavators and stuff, which you're going to learn about tonight. And because he's doing a bang up job, and I'm looking forward to having him on to talk about that because that's going to be quite the project, man. That he's. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to move forward. We've been waiting for our guest to come on, but it looks like he's having difficulties. And,
yeah.
We can only drag this out any much longer, Willie. So we're going to have to just move right in.
No, we're good. We're good, man. We can wait and have him come on next week if he wants. That's fine. It's not a big deal.
No, but we can still show the pictures.
Yeah. Either way. So,
because you guys will be the first ones to see it. So this is what the exciting thing is. A lot of people, look at me, people are on our live tonight. They want to see these pictures.
So anyway, let's finish saying hello to some folks, and then yes, we will definitely move on here. So Café Duran posted yesterday they planted their first. Oh, okay, wow, how about that? Gorgona, and not Gorgona Beach where we went out to the beach there. This is Gorgona way in the middle of the country there. Coach, what's up, man? Yeah, it was good to see all you guys there, man. That was a lot of fun, man. The reunion is always a lot of fun, but especially when you have a lot of guys that are in your class, because then it just has that extra special feeling to it. It's always really good here. Warren, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the results of what you guys do tomorrow. They're excited. Yeah, it was fun, man. It was cool seeing them because they came up and said hello. It was awesome, man. They're great kids, man.
Sorry, guys.
It's always cool to have that type of dynamic where you see somebody that in the ring, they're like, they'll beat you down, man. But they get out of there.
We're the uncles, so don't mess with us, boy. You gotta mess with those Gib boys.
No, exactly. They're absolutely very respectful, super nice. Gibbs. It's cool, man. And it was nice seeing them walking around. They had an entourage with them, man. It was, it's the boys. They're badass.
Yeah, well, you guys are in Tampa. You guys should put together a big posse and go down there and
you got it.
And hola, Lori, how are you? My favorite Instagram. She posts some funny stuff on Instagram with her daughter.
Good to see you, Lori. Standing room only, yes, you know it.
Standing room, yeah.
You know it. Leaf, good to see you, man. I need you guys' help. All right, I'm having a mini reunion in Panama this Saturday at the Canal House at 6 p.m. for the people who are in Panama. I started with 6 people, now it's over 20. Oh, look at this guy. Right on,
man.
Okay.
Jeez.
Well,
what day? What day? Maybe is it Friday? Oh, Saturday. All right. Well,
so is that coming like tomorrow, Saturday? And if so, then at 6 p.m. Canal House,
take some pictures, some video. We'll post it.
Yeah,
the following
there
Friday.
You know, guys. If you're in Panama, man, go ahead and swing on by there. Hey, Paul, good to see you, man.
Hey, Paul, I knew we get Paul in. I always get Paul, man.
Ciudad
More
de Saber.
Gibbs, man. This is the Gibbs, the Duprees, the Corrigans,
the
the
Gibbs are-
Morrises, the Royals. Man, a
Solis.
lot of family. The Gremisons, a lot of us are here, man. Right on, man.
All right, well, Leaf, yeah, hopefully people show up, man, and yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you're
that'd
in
be
Panama.
a good time shall be had.
Yes.
From the
We got
city
some
of
good
knowledge. Yes,
recommendations
indeed.
if you're in Panama.
Mm-hmm.
From the city of knowledge. That's known, a.k.a. Clayton.
Yeah, this Fort Clayton now has become a the Florida State University, which I think used to be in Albrook, wasn't it when we were down there? But they're in there, and it's just it's become quite the campus. Good for that place. Right on.
Yeah.
Thank you very
And
much.
now with the new announcement of all the AI companies moving to Panama, and like we've been talking about, semiconductors. Well, they got to train all these people. So University of Arizona, I think we already talked about this on the show, actually.
Yeah.
University of
Yeah.
Arizona is putting
Yeah,
a
big partnership with them.
A big university to train Panamanians.
Well, they're creating a big chip facility
Chips,
up there in
yeah.
Arizona in Tempe, a massive place.
Correct. And
Yeah.
that's the one that's connected to Panama.
Yep.
So both places are going to be producing it.
Speaking of connected to Panama, and I meant to throw this earlier when Ricky was talking about this, unless you want to talk about it now with the mayor and Fanatics.
Yeah,
and the
we're in
Fan Fest.
Bochin. We're in segment 2. Segment 2, guys. Announcement, Bochinche, comments.
So
I mean, we're all
Fanatics-
structured now.
You guys know the company Fanatics, right? That puts out all the sports
Yes.
apparel and stuff.
Good
Which
story.
speaking of sports apparel, if you notice, I'm sporting the España because
What?
we definitely don't want Argentina to win.
What?
No, after that England loss, no, I can't. Yeah,
Oh, that's right. You're an England guy.
I'm an England fan. So, but anyhow, and by the way, the Malvinas are still the Falkland Islands. Okay, just so you know,
Right.
Argentina. But anyhow, I got this shirt when I was at I worked at Fanatics, and one of the things they would do once a month, and I worked at one of the distribution centers, and they would have an employee whatever thing once a month. No, it's not once a month. About every three or 4 months, and you pay $10, and you get a big 30-gallon trash bag. And you have 5 minutes, man, to just fill that thing up, dude. So I've got shirts for every sports team, hats, you name it, man. So here's my Spain one. But Fanatics, they are probably the preeminent sporting apparel and just sporting company in the world, right? Not a particular team or whatever. They're just a sporting company, and they put on something called Fan Fest. They've been doing it now for about 4 years, and it's. Think of it like Comic-Con, right, or CES, right, the Consumer Electronics show in Vegas. It's the biggest sporting event, sports show in the world, and you have every league, every organization, even FIFA, CONCACAF, the NFL, Major League Baseball. You have everybody there. You have teams. I mean, it's the place to be if you're in anything in the sports world. And the mayor of Panama City is there, and he was broadcasting there because they were invited there, in particular from NBA and Major League Baseball and a couple other sporting organizations, and they're looking at Panama as a place to start developing talent, and not on the infrastructure side so much as actual playing talent, athletes and stuff. And so, they're looking to become another conduit into the states and into the sporting world, and not just the states, because again, you have leagues and organizations from Europe with soccer, and we're seeing Panamanians making inroads into soccer in
But
in
don't
Europe
they
as
recruit
well.
for like Major League Baseball,
They recruit-
NFL?
It's for everybody. In
It's
other
for
words, like I
everybody,
said, it's a
yeah.
big convention. Just like you go to an electronics show and you have Sony, you
So
have
Panamanian kids would be able to try out or something like that. Willie, is that what that's all about?
You probably what this will do is it's a place where you can network, right? And so you're going to be able to meet with people from Major League Baseball, maybe from different teams, and go, hey, let's set up a scouting organization, and probably connect them with the baseball leagues here, so that they have a formal process that as the league starts and as games start, they have them that way. Who knows? Maybe down the road it becomes another winter ball place like it used to be back in the day.
Well,
And-
yeah. Well, that's what Panama needs, because that's what that's
Yeah.
why so many Venezuelan baseball players and
Sure.
so many Dominican baseball players, because they
Right.
have those type of stuff. So right
Well,
on,
and,
man.
and,
That
and
is
for a
good
while
news.
we had that in Panama with a very well-known Zonian named Herb Rayburn. He was
he lived across the street from me.
yes, and he was the Yankee scout that brought a lot of baseball players,
Including
into
Mariano
Rivera.
Rivera.
Absolutely.
He's
So-
a Zonian, graduated my dad. My dad and him
Sure
were
did.
buddies.
Yep.
Class of 55, Balboa High School.
Yep. And
class of
his son was
55.
class of 85, I believe,
Yeah,
if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. But
well,
but
when
yeah,
I
so
got
that's what
this-
he's doing there. He's trying to really grow the whole networking opportunities for Panamanian athletes to have
the soccer
more
kids
opportunities
are
to get
starting to
discovered.
produce.
Yes, it opened their eyes, man.
The
And
soccer kids are
again,
starting
this
to
World
realize
Cup was
Panama-
so massive that you're right. It put them
Yeah,
on
the
the.
Panama's
It
putting
put
out some
Panama
good
on
talent.
the map. You know.
Good
And
talent.
in
And
all
baseball,
honesty,
too.
guys, Panama, they didn't score a goal in this World Cup, but again, guys, they have gotten nothing but praise from the world in the style of play they did and the teams they faced and how they absolutely attacked and tried their hardest to get in there.
Yeah, in other words, they didn't play like all defense because they were going to get
Which is
crushed.
what you
No, they
normally get
attacked,
with those
attacked,
smaller
attacked.
teams.
Yeah, yeah.
They play to not get scored on, and Panama played to try and win these games, and that was refreshing to
Which
see.
is the first World Cup.
Dude.
Well, I mean, we got to get
played
going
scared.
with this our show, but the first World Cup we played scared. This one we didn't. But
And it was
before we
fun
get
to
into
watch
league-
from the stands, dude. It was
Yeah.
really fun to
Oh,
watch.
yeah, you
as
were
a
there. You
fan.
were there in
Yes.
Toronto.
Dude, it was
Right on,
so much
yeah.
fun to watch them attacking because you see the whole thing. You see a guy wide open on the side, and they're making that pass, and the fans get into it because they're like, yeah, you know, they really are attacking. So yeah, you're right. We'll digress here, but it's good to see what this guy's doing for Panama there, man.
You know, we don't have a guest right now, so you're really not going to just rattle on, man. We should do that,
yeah.
Willie. That's how we get in trouble. All right, guys. Well, from the Bochincha news, there's only really one big news. But from that one big news, a lot of things are happening. And we've been updating you guys all the time on the ports with the Chinese versus the Panamanians.
Yeah.
And it's becoming worldwide, with all the stuff
Yeah.
going on. Like I said, we've been informing you of all the escalations, and it's seen that this thing couldn't get you couldn't escalate another level.
Right.
I mean, remember there were now
Well,
the Chinese were now
There's been several hold my beer moments here.
there were several boats now being detained for all kinds of inspections, but there was never a reason why, right?
Denver.
So then they had this meeting at the Organization of American States, and Panama kind of said, the Chinese came up during that session and said, hey, Panama doesn't have any more foreign investment because of what they're doing. And one of the things they did was they took the ports from us, and we think they need to reverse this call.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
They're not
And
letting
then
go of that, man.
And Panama was actually the president of this session going on
Right.
at the Organization of American States.
Yeah.
And the Chinese are there as observants. So caught everybody by surprise because this is not
Sure.
on the agenda.
Correct.
But so Panama responded by saying, "Hey, listen, you got to respect our court. It's a court decision. The president can't just go in there and change it." And the Chinese goes, "Oh, yes, you can. You can go in there and change it."
And then to try and blindside him that way.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Come on.
so the Panamanians said, "Hey, listen, let's not talk about this right there in front of everybody. Let's sit down and
Right.
let's have a private discussion, right?" So it kind of ended at that, right? So we were expecting to see good news come out of that. So in the meantime, Willie, what happens is out of nowhere, right? This one Chinese guy that's been on the run, boom, gets caught in Panama. Interpol.
Ooh, what a surprise.
So I'm not saying this is what happened. This is my opinion, So that was kind of like a token. I said, "Hey, listen, we'll get the guy that you've been looking for. We know where he is. We'll grab him. We'll send him to you, and let's
Gotta have some
let's
leverage,
negotiate. Yeah,
Part
let's
of the deal.
negotiate in good faith. Right here.
Yeah.
Here's our token."
Fair
So the
enough.
Chinese, right on, man. Thanks a lot. This and that, right? So what did the Chinese do, Willie? They up more inspections. And then they will not confirm the private meeting to discuss, let's not do our these inspections anymore. So then the Panamanians are like, well, why are you inspecting
that work?
more, not less?
Right.
And they said because the majority of the shipping accidents, which didn't present any facts, are registered to Panamanian ships.
Well, but that's
In the South China Sea or something
That's
like
a
that.
stupid ruling, and I'll tell you why. Because the majority of ships flagged in the world are Panamanian. So you're going to have
I think
a
it's just
skewed number-
BS. It's just to escalate.
But it is BS, Ricky, because it's actually, no, it's not BS, but you're playing with numbers and giving them a different context. If you have 1,000 ships and 900 of them are flagged Panamanian, it
Of
stands
course.
to reason they're going to have the most accidents.
Yeah. Well, I'm
It's
saying
not because
that
they're Panamanian.
right. No,
It's simply because
I
they
hear
have
your
the most
point there,
flags.
and yeah, that is correctly. You are right, correct. Well, I'm saying is that we were expecting to see,
Right.
good
Hey, play
faith.
ball,
We
man.
threw this guy
Exactly. Good
in.
faith.
You know, at least break it down a little bit. Let's chit chat. Let's see what we can
Correct.
work out. Nope. You know, they use that as an example of why they're. So you know, I guess they're just not going to.
You know what? Panama's
but
in a position of strength, dude.
yeah, they are. So what happens now? Here's a big part of the bochinche. So Panama, you know, if everybody knows, Molino's been traveling tries
Sure.
all over the place. And by the way, Willie, that was a funny thing you posted on Instagram because you know the Mexicans got like
man.
yeah, the Mexicans got like a whole bunch of cars from South Korea, you know, to go on their train across.
Hyundai to put them on a train.
Right, to go across, and the news was all over world news. Oh, they're taking over the Panama Canal. You know, Panama Canal is not going to function anymore.
The narrative.
So Willie posted a meme of Molino because Molino's in Mexico, but he's there for other reasons.
Right.
He's in Mexico. Molino on the ship going to the canal. You know, the big Panama, the ones that go through the new locks, full of cars, and then right next to it is the president of Mexico on a little train with a couple of cars behind, beep beep, going right next to Molino. So that was pretty funny. If you have it, I'd love to see it because it is hilarious. But Molino is in Mexico, Willie, because the Chinese, right? They're putting the pressure on us. So he's out there trying to get people to sign on to the neutrality treaty, which China won't sign. So he got them to sign, and you know, and a bunch of other good stuff because you know we're looking for foreign investment. Because, like I said, 60% less foreign investment over last year. So that's some big numbers. In other words, no one's investing in Panama.
Right.
And so what happens is the Japanese step in. That's why I'm wondering why the French have never stepped in to make up for their losses. The Japanese stepped in now. Willie, one of two things have happened. Two things have happened, not one or two. Both things have happened that are an indicator of, okay, China, see you later. We don't need your money. We don't need your technology. We don't need, your engineering. The Japanese moved in. And first of all, we have direct flights from Panama to Tokyo. That's hilarious. But that's truly what it is. That's just the truth. It's not just a mock. It's just you got a train carrying a few cars versus the canal. I mean, they're not. No, it's not going to make the canal.
And honestly, the reason I did it was obviously it's sarcasm and whatnot. But I mean, it's because the headlines were all "Goodbye, Panama. Panama's done. The canal is done." And I'm like, all right, hold my.
Yeah, what a waste of money and training and all this stuff. Yeah, so it was work to put that up there.
But it got really nasty. People started.
Oh, really? No way.
I started getting some messages from them, direct messages, and so I was like, I'm going to take this down.
Oh, okay.
Apparently they got all bent out of shape, man.
Oh, that's too bad because that was funny.
Enjoy your little train, your trencito. Yeah, that's what I called it.
Well, Willie, they got the direct flights now to Japan, straight from Panama.
Yeah,
and that's basically because of all their engineers that are coming over, their bankers that are coming over. I'm sure some labor, specialized labor.
A loud message to China.
Yeah, not only that, but they're also financing the ports, the gas duct, the trains. They're so Molino now has that's how we escalate. That's how Panama's been escalating. But more and more separating. But that doesn't mean that the Chinese are not doing business in Panama because they are.
Right. Correct.
And they always have.
Of course.
And one of the things that they're really, really excelling at, even though they haven't beat the Japanese yet, is selling cars. Selling those high Sheila, selling those electric cars.
Yeah, you got it.
And they're really like a big hit. They're like apparently pretty decent cars. So we'll see.
Sure.
So yeah. So that's what we got really, guys, on the bochinche. What we got coming up now on the bochinche is a lot of great recommendations. We're going to talk about restaurants now, and we've got a few. Recommendations from our chef Zonian Bourdain, and that is a Zonian that goes to different places in Panama. Maybe starting in the Canal Zone and in Panama, but he goes and he tries out the places that we like, the stuff that we like to eat. So these are some good recommendations for those in the Panama or planning to go there. Now, if you're looking for a good Mexican taco. And if you're from the West Coast, you know what I mean. We love our tacos. If you're looking for one in Panama that's legit, it's so legit that when you go there, Willie, the guys are wearing a Lucha Libre mask.
Yeah, right. Yes,
so it's authentic. It's authentic.
And that's true. It has to be authentic. There's a big difference.
I I don't know that there's a name, but what I can tell you is where it's located. You know that one building called Point, where they have all that extreme sports that you say you would never walk in. It's got the glass walkway and the swing that goes off the buildings like 60 stories in the air, and it's got the zip line between high rises, which, by the way, one lady got stuck the other day right in the middle. Well, anyways, it's right by that on the entrance to Casco Viejo. It's got like 3 carts lined up in a row. And that's the place to go, guys, for the most legit tacos.
I'll tell you, if you want to learn about Mexican food and tacos especially, true authentic ones, on Netflix, there's a series. It's about 6 or 7 episodes called The Taco Chronicles.
Yeah, I seen that.
It's really good,
yeah,
man.
it's really good, man.
You watch that and you're going out to buy Mexican, I guarantee
No,
you.
I live in the West Coast, so we know about that stuff here, man. We're definitely.
Yeah,
so
right
for
on.
good taco stand, that's the place to
There
go.
you go.
Recommended by
There you go.
Zonian Bourdain. Now, if you're looking for, like most Panamanians do on Sunday morning, for a good teen sum. Now, we've known all along that, you go to what are our spots? Panachina,
Right.
Lung Fu,
Lung Fu,
Rei
right.
Kung. Those are the old school ones. But now they got a new one, Willie, and it's Quang Chao. I love the name. Quang Chao.
Okay.
And that, if you guys all remember Sal Si Puede, that one place down Avenida Central, Bueno, Avenida B, Sal Si Puede, you go look for Quang Chao. Tell them that the Zonian Bourdain sent you there. Incredible dim sum. I don't need to explain to you what a dim sum is. But it's the place to go if you're just, have had enough of Lung Fung, and that, because, it's
Lung
been,
Fung, dim sum, chuan chow.
it's been 50 years that we've been eating at Lung Fung.
Yeah,
You know what? Like Napolis, man. I think the Zonians kept those people going.
It's like a staple.
And then, of course, if you guys remember the La Boca gas station. Of course you do. Everybody remembers that place. There was the Boy Scout shack right next to it. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, they converted that into a Korean
So we showed that on the show here, remember?
Yeah, we did. Zonian Bourdain was there.
Yeah.
It's a Korean / Colombian barbecue. And what they recommend there, it's just great food. What they recommend there is the fried corbina with the patacones. Now, the patacones are done in the Colombian style, which is really thin, crispy. And then they give you this garlic brine for dipping. And apparently that's the magic.
Nice.
And, of course, you get a little ensalada because, one thing about Panamanian, man, no matter where you eat, you always get a little ensalada on the side, man. So I don't know that anybody ever ate it. I know I never did. I don't know
Well,
if you
I'll tell
did.
you what, I did, and I'll tell you why. I learned this a long time ago. If you eat your greens at the end of your meal, it helps bring your body temperature down.
Is
Your
that
body
why
temperature
they
goes up when
always
you-
serve it?
Yes, and exactly. That's
No,
a natural way
man,
to cool your
hold up.
body down. Absolutely. Because your body temperature goes up when you start eating. When you eat, your body starts digesting. It starts to work, and you get. And then somebody that eats a lot, all of a sudden, starts sweating. It's.
Got you.
So that's
But
eating
you know
greens
what?
at
It's
the
in every meal, no matter what. You got your little enchilada on the side, Tomatoes, lechuga, and what else would they put in there? Carrots and onions, I want to say, but maybe not.
Let me try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Carlton said he
those
couldn't
are
get
our
sleep.
recommendations. And then, Willie, I was on the look at me, bochinchero. So going, I always check to see what's happening, on the world news on Panama, right? So there's one lady who's like millions of followers. Sorry, I didn't write her name down, but it's a quickie. And millions and millions of followers, and she went to Panama. And everybody's like, "Hey, talk about your Panama, how it was." And she said, "I tell you what, I love Panama for everything you guys have ever heard of, but there are 5 places that I recommend highly to all my viewers worldwide." This woman, all right.
Try this one, Carlton. I just sent you a new link.
Yeah, we're all right. Hopefully, hope we can get them on, man. If you're into kosher food, Panama's got 2 of the top in the world. All right, Adama Kosher.
Okay.
And if you guys can find it, Adama, and I just got this information just off the because I'm always checking my phone right before the show. And Arias, which is a steakhouse, Aria. You know what? I think I've eaten at Aria in Las Vegas steakhouse. So those 2 for kosher foods in Panama, tops. Okay. And then she had 3 Costco recommendations, or 2 and 1 close by, like the one we just mentioned. Sofitel that hotel.
Yeah.
Apparently it's like tip top. You gotta stay there at least one night, and it's not even that
Okay.
expensive. Like $220 a night. I mean, that's expensive for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. You would think that you would pay
For that
$1,000
level of hotel.
Yeah, you would think you would pay $1,000 a night, and they would get people would pay $1,000 to stay.
Right on.
So Sofitel, check it out, and they also have a nice bar and restaurant there. And then for coffee houses, hard to find, but you got to find it in Casco Viejo. It's called Olympia Cafe. Apparently, it's like a little hole in the wall, little hallway, and then it opens up, and it's got this unbelievable view of Paitilla, and you guys all familiar with that view.
Sure.
And then the last but not least that she recommended to stay at was the J.W. Merritt. I should have looked it up, but like I said, it was right before the show. J.W. Merritt is supposed to be one of the best hotels to stay at Panama, and mostly because of the rooftop. There's the #1 rooftop bar in Panama.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's Willie. On the restaurant part, last week you mentioned the pizza guys that are now ranked worldwide.
Right.
Pizza Veracci.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So we were talking about the 25th tournament. Well, they also won in 26. But Willie, they weren't #1 in the world. This is world. This is the world. This is the top 100 in the world. Not Latin America. The world. Well, they went from 74th in 25 to 58th in 26.
Right on.
So what we can say is that congratulations to those two young men that do Neapolitan type pizza like Napoli's.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Marco Carleso and Leonardo Carrero. So we've given you guys some incredible recommendations if you're in Panama. To wrap it up, Pizza Veracci, Adama, Aria Steakhouse, Olympia Coffee House, and then from our Zonian locations, we got Quang Chao in Salsipueda. I love that name. And we got the taco stand. You got to find this taco stand. One of a kind. Just look for the guys with the Lucha Libre mask on. You can't miss it, man. And you're going to get the best tacos you've ever had.
There you go.
And the
McGee's
La Boca gas station.
Yeah, and then McGee's saying La Compañía is a place. It's nice.
Oh, that's where my little brother Roby's favorite place. Takes my mom there every Sunday.
Cool.
Vilma has her brunch there with my brother and whatever guests are in town, But that is, you can find Arroyos there. That's a very, very, very incredible restaurant. A little pricey, but man, is it good.
Yeah, and then we love La Compañía.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very
Todd,
cool.
of course. Todd and Roby, very good friends.
Well, and now let's go ahead and we were, like I said, we talked earlier about having some connection issues, but obviously those have been resolved.
We got our man on. All right, well let's go. We haven't been here for tonight. Hey guys, thank you for sticking with us. Willie and I really know we can stretch out any show you guys want, man.
We'll talk about anything for as long as we need to, man. But no, listen, like we said, guys, last week we weren't on the air because it was the reunion, and so let's go ahead and check out what happened in the reunion with none other than the photographer for the Pan Canal Society. Carlton, man, good to see you, brother.
Carlton Morris.
How are you, gentlemen?
Right on. Good.
Man.
Thanks for coming on, Carlton, and taking the time. We've always been chasing Carl down to be on the show. He's a busy man. One thing, Carlton, guys, before we get started, Carlton has his company where he grows these little bugs, and he's all over the states saving. And he was just down in Central California where we have all our farming and a ton of shit waste. Well, Carlton shows up with all his bugs. 24 hours is clean. There's not waste anywhere.
My bugs like to be referred to as microbes.
And then they produce a product, a byproduct.
The bug man.
The bug. I'm always like, Carlton, man, set me up. I'll be your project manager, man. I want to hang out with your bugs.
Yeah, man. No,
right on, Carlton, man. Good work, man. I appreciate
Carlton wears
that.
many hats. He's the bug man in some worlds, but he's in the Canal Zone reunion and other places, not just the reunion.
Photographer.
He is the man walking around with a big, giant telephoto lens, man. And grabbing
us
some
memories.
shots, people. So
Yeah, I put my steps in. That's for sure. That's
yeah,
the
you
steps
do,
in for the whole year.
man. No kidding, man. You definitely earn the coupon they give you, to go to the reunion for sure, brother. But before we talk about your picks, how did you get started in the photography? Because I mean, you got some equipment, dude. It's not a little Instamatic there, man. You got some gear,
Well,
man.
I got started at Panama Canal College with K-Boy Richie's dad.
Okay.
He taught photography at the college, and I would go in there and learn how to develop film and do these projects for the class, and I use my camera. I call my camera my tool of proximity. It gets me in the rooms I need to be for my other businesses.
Yes,
Talk
you
to the
do.
senators,
Yes.
the governors, sometimes the president.
Carlton can be seen
blah,
with
blah, blah.
presidents of the United States. Yes.
no doubt.
Sherry gets angry with me. She says, "You never send an invoice out for your photography," and I'm like, "Well, it got me a whole
we
bunch
can
of
handle
other
that
stuff."
for you. We
Yeah,
can
you
handle
can't-
that for you for 7%. No, just
Oh,
kidding.
well, listen, when you walk into a room with a telephoto lens that's about 2.5 feet long, people get out of the way, man. All of a sudden, you
That's
get
right.
priority.
You ought to see my Etch-a-Sketches.
I love it, man. So, Canal Zone reunion. How do you approach the reunion? Is there kind of a strategy? What is your whole thing and get up before you even get out there?
In previous years there was a strategy. I would put these, my calendar together, and I would review. I just didn't have much time this year. In fact, a couple of months ago, I got a letter from American Airlines saying I'm in the top 7% of their travelers, and I haven't even gone overseas yet with this bug company. So,
Well, aren't you like traveling right after this to New York? Don't you got some shoes to sell up there right after you're done with this show?
yeah, I've got we're doing our civilian shoe line. Like I said, we just launched for the World Cup. In fact, I went up to the Toronto Panama versus Croatia.
Yeah, we miss
game.
each other up there, but yeah, you were up
Sorry,
there.
I missed you, Will. But
Yeah.
that morning, we did a celebrity golf tournament just north of Toronto, and had all we had about seven or 800 shoes that were purchased for this golf tournament, and then I ran over to the parade and did all that fun stuff, and then went to the game, and it was a busy 2 nights in Toronto.
Yeah, it was busy for sure, man. And then out you went, racking up more of those miles with American.
Yeah.
And then you got ready for the reunion because it was only a short time later that this whole thing started. So let's go ahead and pull up some pics, and what we'll do, they're kind of just a collage here, and there's a story behind them, of course, and all that, and then we'll and then we'll just kind of chit chat about the reunion in general.
Willie, I'll take care of comments and banners.
Yeah, and you got it. Perfect. So it starts with the golf tournament on Thursday. That's kind of the kickoff of the reunion here. So, what was your thoughts on the golf tournament itself and some of these cool shots of that bird there? How did that bird let you get so close, man?
I don't know. I think he wanted to change the mascot for Balboa High School. He was kept.
Oh, I love that shot,
High
though.
School
Now I see the
class of
bird.
76
Yeah.
sign, and then he started bringing his brothers and sisters in, and we had all these big old birds. But I gotta say, carne and palito. Well, you had pajarito and palito.
Yeah.
It does taste like chicken.
Carne and seagull.
It sure does, man. It's all in the seasoning, man. It's all in the seasoning.
And look at Ralphie all sharp there, bottom left. Right
You always
on,
have Miller Monkey,
Ralphie.
it'll make it taste good.
Shy Young. That's what I call him now. Shy Young. He's so good looking.
Now, was the tournament sponsored by the class of '76, or what did they have going on there?
Yeah, I think there were a minor. The big sponsor is Steve Gilbert and family. They put in quite a bit of money for to sponsor it. In fact, I think they charge $80 a head to play golf, but Shingle Creek charges us, I think, 96 or 97 or something like that. So it's a loss. But for the sponsors, I think it's Blaze Pizza. I think some of the classes
Howler Monkey Sauce does it.
chipped in, and Steve Gilbert was the big guy. I think they put in
Steve Gilbert from Texas?
Yeah, from Helotes.
Yeah, I know the Gilberts.
Texas.
They live close to us, right? They lived on where did I live on?
They're right across the street from you, I think.
Yeah. I always
always
forget the name of that street, man. I'm losing my mind, man.
Yeah, but how was the tournament? It was hot. It was, I think, Davey
104 degrees.
About the weather app, and it was 113 degrees with the heat index.
Well, they had that Saharan sand whatever thing going, and in Central Florida there's no breeze at all. So in July it's brutal. It really is, man. I did it a couple of years ago with Paul Myers, man, and
I was there.
Yeah, and he had to help me up out,
You
to
almost
get back to the
passed out.
hotel because I was in bad
Yeah.
shape, man. It
Yeah,
was,
I almost
last
passed
year-
out at the
last year we
pool.
had- last year we had someone in our foursome, and I don't remember who it was, but he got heat stroke or heat
it was bad.
exhaustion, and it got dangerous very quickly.
yes, no kidding, man.
Oh yeah, you got to wear the hat. You got to wear the long sleeve.
you gotta
You
hydrate.
have
That's more than
to,
anything, man. You gotta
And
hydrate.
Drink a shitload of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, I think I drank 9 or 10 bottles of water, and then I went to go to the pool, and I was not guilty of urinating in the pool. You know,
No, not the people in the center of the pool by themselves. They're never urinating.
yeah,
Hey, but that place has so much chlorine, man. I mean, your skin turns white from much chlorine there's in that
Yeah,
pool,
that's
man.
right.
They know when we show up, and it's so funny because I always see the pictures from above, and you'll see everybody hangs around on the edge, and then you'll see about 5 people kind of in the middle, kind of like acting like they're just walking by, and you know exactly what they're doing.
Well, they're on the edge because that's where all their drinks are hanging out.
Right. The edge is where all the drinks are. Everybody's passing out.
Exactly it. Yeah.
And remember, the pool party, guys, is all you can drink beer.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
And I
It's
saw,
got to be a member of the
one
society.
container
Though.
there was 100 ounces, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to keep an eye on that guy when he goes use the toilet.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, the center of the pool. All right, here's the golf tournament again. Right on. I mean, that's a big thing in the zone.
Yeah.
Golf was always huge. I heard John Reardon won that tournament. Congratulations to him. Ralphie got third
Wouldn't
place.
surprise me. Yeah, Reardon's a good golfer. They usually get a good group in there.
Well, do you remember in Panama we had the Schlitz Wally Trout Open? I was a kid, and I always would, quote unquote, caddy for my dad, and it was 10-cent Schlitz beer at the end of each hole, and boy, those guys get wasted out there.
All right. That's awesome.
Golf in the canals. From the early days, the fields were designed, and even back then by the top golfers of the time.
Yeah, no. Listen, it's one of those things. In the Canal Zone is entertainment and leisure was prioritized. It wasn't just something they accepted; they pushed it. That's the only way you could keep these people there. And it's funny that when we think about it, when we grew up there, it's like, well, hell, we didn't need any incentive, but they kept it going, so we'll take it, But
we're the DNA. We're the DNA. We're the result of that DNA.
Right. 1907 is a little bit different though. In 1907, you weren't cruising down Barnaby Street, man. You were.
Remember we had Al Sprague on, and he told us their traviesuras. Man, we don't compare to those guys, and that's where our DNA comes from.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'll tell you, Amateur Golf Club at the before I left, I think I sponsored a Buzz Golf tournament. I think we had 46 golfers and only about 17 sets of clubs and about 21 ice chests. So we decided we'll all play the same hole at the same time. So all of us teed off at the same time. We had teams, and I think 3.5 hours into is when the MPs came to kick us off. And I think we're on hole 2.5.
Yeah,
That was Amador, right? I remember your group always did that. I remember you guys doing that. Yes.
Oh, it
on
was
you
nuts.
guys,
The
man.
MPs came. I think Rick Jones got arrested.
Yeah.
Causeway later that
Great,
day. I mean, it was
man.
just a nutty thing, but that was an awful lot of fun.
That was Amador for you. Amador was kind of that hybrid. Was it really military based?
It was but it was
I don't know if it
Zonian,
was a civilian place. I mean, think about the Yacht Club. If there's a brawl there, you never saw an MP show up there ever.
Right.
They never.
I think the
set foot
Canal
on-
Zone cops
Yes, that's
would
my point.
patrol in there.
You got that's what I mean. It
Well,
was kind of a
Amador-
hybrid
the-
base.
Yeah, the good thing about playing at Amador, you always had a good score because I think par was 64 or something. I'd go home and tell my dad, "Hey, I shot an 81 today. Pretty good."
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, that was good. It looks like the golf tournament. That one's always a good time, like you guys say.
Yeah.
Golf
Well,
is
on
always
the
big.
on the right middle, that's a Gilbert there.
That's Steve Gilbert in the middle.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Okay, right on. And then now is that in your foursome? Who's in your foursome there?
That was Andy Whitlock and his
I thought that
brother-in-law.
was Andy Whitlock. Okay.
And his brother-in-law married to his oldest sister, Celio, I think his name
Yeah.
is.
Celios,
Yep.
architect. Canal's an architect.
Yes.
And the other gentleman who was on my team was a guy named Chris Burns, and he married he's not from the zone, but he married a gal at the Balboa High School 76.
Oh, he's
And
in.
And it turns out that I knew many of his, we had many mutual friends from when I worked in the commissaries. He worked for the Troop Support Agency in the military for many years. And we got on the line and called a guy who was 86 years old who used to be my boss, and he knew him. And I'm like, what a small world.
Yeah, right. That's funny. That's funny, man. Yeah. So again, a golf tournament, a great time. But this is the one outside of the class reunions. This is the one that's
This is the
probably
party, man.
I would say probably this is the one that's the biggest gathering, of people all in one place, in one function. But yeah, so this is the pool party. You have to be a member of the society in order to get the
Good.
free beer.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
you don't have to be a
Sherry on
member
the
of
bottom
either.
right.
You got to
Right
get.
on.
Yeah.
Paul
Sherry
Williams
and,
right above him.
Paul Williams' wife, Erin.
Yep.
And I'm giving you the sneak peek of the picture.
Yes,
there in the
we
middle.
know. Everybody here. This is the first time nobody has seen these pictures. You guys are all the first.
Correct.
Well,
Yeah,
the one in the middle for sure. Some of the others have been.
Yeah, the one in the middle's been around. Yeah, there's Keith Mead, top right, center.
Yeah, and the
Right
bottom,
on, right on.
bottom
All
middle
good
is,
people. These are all good folks. There's David Kelleher, left middle.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bottom right
that's-
is my
and that's
classmate.
Pat
86.
Smith's son with him, right behind him on the floaty.
Yep.
And then Ted Fay and Richard Grimison and there's Steve.
Oh, that's a
Gilbert.
great group,
And there's
man.
Kay Ritchie's on the bottom left in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bottom left, right.
Yep, that's it.
That was a good reunion. Ah,
Yeah, that's one. And then here's the other one. There's again more
I
people
hate
here
missing
to throw it in.
reunions.
We got more crew here. So on the upper left there, that is Conan Herring. He's one of the co-owners of Howler Monkey.
Holler Monkey. Yes,
Yes.
right on, Mr.
Thank
Herring.
you.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ,
appreciate you,
great
brother.
people. Truly, all you
Hey.
guys that support the show, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is all
Yeah,
for you
Skip.
guys, man.
There's Skip Harris on the left middle.
Yeah.
And his wife. And some Cristobal folk.
All right on, right on, right on.
Kenny Gall on the bottom.
All right, Kenny Gall. We've had him on the show. He's funny.
He's a trip.
Kenny had a pretty funny note that he sent my way regarding getting me out of a ticket or something. One of those Canal Zone police stories. It was pretty funny, man.
It was
because
funny, man.
It was
You got a
all made
ticket.
up, of course, but it really was. They always say that in order for a joke or humor to truly be funny, there's got to be some reality behind it, and that really was the way it was in the zone. We got
Yeah.
one of the cop kids is doing something stupid. We got to hear. Can you sign this, please? Kind of thing.
And I get to see. I see. Sherry and I have run into Lee and Kenny Gall's daughter at
Right.
Mar-a-Lago several times. She's
right
she's
on.
she's in the detail, Secret Service detail for.
And isn't
Aaron,
your
right?
son? He has a grandson that's also like a professional baseball player?
Who's
Catching?
that?
Kenny Gall. Oh no, that's actually the Nickershit. His wife, Lee's
Yeah, I
Lee's
think so.
his
Nickersons,
nephew.
yeah.
nephew,
Yeah, nephew.
nephew.
Yep.
He's like
Yep.
a ball player with the Giants. Is he with the Giants?
I'm not sure who he signed with, but I know he did really well in high school. He did really, really well. But look at
I
that.
think
Yeah,
it was with the
Petrie
Saucy
did.
Puedos Thieves.
Yeah.
Petri dish.
That's exactly what it is. Petri dish. That's exactly.
That's Stevie Dahlstrom. Steve Dahlstrom.
Oh, sorry, Willie.
Yeah.
Steve Dahlstrom there on the bottom as well. Second
Yes.
photo
Yeah. Him
from
and
the
Carlos
left- from the
Lane,
right.
and that's Kim Lauterbach,
Yeah, that's
Kim
David's,
Bradley
David's
now.
little brother. He's
that's-
that young Dahlstrom's a good kid, man. He's I mean,
are.
all the Dahlstroms are super
they're
good,
good
but this
Yeah, I
kid
run
is
into
even-
him at FAU football games all the time
Yeah.
whenever
Oh,
we
right
go
on.
to a game. So
Yeah, I like him. I
Cool.
like him. Good kid. Good kid.
Yeah. So, and then the next big function that's well known
Yes.
is the despedida. This is winding it down. But this is one
This
of
is the
those
Sunday, right? The Sunday.
Yes.
that's Sunday morning. Yeah.
But this really takes you back to Panama. I mean, this is really what some of that essence of Panama that's really unique to Panama. And one of the interesting things whenever you talk about the Panama heritage and the culture, this pollera dress is recognized worldwide as one of the
It
more
is.
elaborate, beautiful dresses in the world as far as cultural dress and everything goes. It's
Well,
pretty cool.
this group here is called Sentimiento Panama, and they. Someone that Carl Orvis and I were talking about, and we're I think they're going to try to make a run at. There's a competition with almost every major city has these Panamanian dancers that entertain locally,
Right.
and every year there's a competition. He says, why don't we get these people to do their convention at the same time as our reunion? We'll have Panamanian dancers. There'll be the
polleras everywhere, man.
steroids.
Heck yeah, man. I'll tell you what. That's one. It's funny you mentioned that because, one of the things people do oftentimes, as a fundraiser or as a way of getting, more engagement or whatnot, is they reach out to the Guinness Book of World Records And oftentimes they'll look and go, yes, that actually would be a legit event, would be something, and that would be interesting to say, hey, the world's largest murga, and have all of a sudden, a big parade and have it part of the society. That'd be
Or the most people in Polletas, and if we're
Right,
one short,
exactly.
Ricky will get on one. Get in a Polleta.
Oh, I'll do the Montuno for sure, man. My mom taught me how to
no,
dance
no,
that stuff.
Montuno.
Yeah. I know how to do that.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think he mentioned Montuno.
Yeah, and then
but all right.
you
No,
see
what? Did I
you
miss
see the
something
picture
again?
on the- you see the picture on the bottom with the machetes.
What they vendele?
That's very very smart that the Zonians never picked up the machete in their
Yeah, no
dances
kidding.
at the
Right.
at the yacht club.
What do they call that move? The
Yeah, the piñatas would have never lasted, man. One swing.
Walk at that.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. That's how you settle this feud quick. No messing around there, man. And then a couple of just miscellaneous random shots.
All right, there's my class there. Right, Jimmy Reinhardt. Yeah, Lee Morton. Looks like Scott Connigan.
Yeah.
Herbie Garrett. Oh, these are all my. This is my gang here. Right on, man. Yeah, Kenny Morris, John Morris, bottom right. All right.
And his fiancee.
Oh, and the two beautiful Zonians, Sherry Cofer and Elaine Peterson. Oh
Yeah,
my
there you go.
God, that is royalty there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was fun to catch up with.
Yeah, and then there's
She's
Carlton
out there
and
close
Kenny
to you,
and-
isn't she? In California.
Yes, that's who I hang out with all the time. Except I haven't seen her in a while because I've had a bunk knee, and they like to go hiking up in the freaking forest. So where they hike, you start at the top, right? They've done this shit 20,000 times. And then you hike down, right? It's beautiful, but you're going down, so you're blah, 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 no problem, all the way down. Next thing you know, you got to come back up, bro.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
give her
that's
some
brilliant.
cardboard. Give her some.
Oh,
give her
my
some cardboard.
God,
That'll
they
get her
gotta-
down quickly.
Yeah, they got to wait for me an hour.
Right,
I
right.
mean, I don't know how these guys can hike like that. So I got to be in shape to go hang out with them. And of course, they live by the beach, and she cooks.
I got
You
tired
can
just
always
listening to that
expect a Zonian meal with Elaine.
Right.
But so I don't mean to interrupt, but she's such awesome. Anytime I can talk about
Yeah,
Elaine or
no,
Sherry,
that's-
I
Well, a
just,
lot of my trips out to California, I either fly into LAX or Fresno. So maybe,
yeah.
I could do San Francisco one time. And
Oh,
and,
for
come
sure.
on.
They're in
There you
Santa
go.
Cruz. They're out in Santa Cruz.
There you
Only about
go.
an hour away.
Tell you what, if talk about an interesting trip, and I was going to bring it up later, but I'll mention it now since you travel so much. For the Labor Day weekend, I'm going to travel up to Minnesota, and I'm going to go and climb aboard a Bucyrus steam shovel and
Oh,
play
wow.
around with that thing. I talked to the owner last night and confirmed it all, and so that's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to meet Pat Schulte. He's going to pick me up in Minneapolis.
Right
and we're
on,
gonna
Pat.
drive up
Yeah.
and go check
Pat's
it
always
out.
on our show.
Yeah. So I'm really, really excited about that because, part of what I want to focus on when it comes to that documentary is not that 100,000-foot view where you see 3 steam shovels and trains and all that. I want to see what's inside it and how these people work those levers and all the things that they did hour after hour in that awful environment.
And yeah, those were
and
not
really
good
how
conditions.
those machines worked and how they really built this darn canal, So I'm excited about that. But if you happen to be in the Midwest area and you need to use some miles, man, you're more than welcome to join us because that's gonna be a lot of fun to capture some.
Yeah, I get
some
up to
Zonian-
Iowa every now and again, and we're looking at a big job up in the northern reaches of Minnesota.
With the bugs?
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
with
this
the
place
bugs,
is on the
of course.
Minnesota-North Dakota border on the
Yeah,
western part.
with all those fires going on, they reached out to us last year. They said they have a billion tons of poplar trees that are dead up there, and that's all the methane is being released. And that's what's causing all these fires.
Wow.
And yeah, we
And
can
Carlton into the rescue.
Yeah, we can
you,
turn
man,
that
those
into
are mighty
fertilizer
bugs.
pretty quick.
What was that one cartoon with the mighty bug? Remember that? that little cartoon back in the day? That's what they are, a trillion of those little mighty bugs.
Well, Ricky, I sent you the videos of all
I
this
know, I
equipment.
see them. I know
All the
they're
videos.
microbes. I'm just making fun,
And I'm
guys.
telling you what, I have
Oh,
no clue.
Kelly Morris.
No clue
Oh, my
how to
God.
use that machinery.
I did
It
miss
don't
out.
matter, man, as long as you know how to sell it.
That's right.
That's
I
all that
missed
matters.
out. Look at all those people.
Yeah, no, it was, and
Wow.
it was a good reunion. These guys put on a good time. It's like I said,
Yeah.
it's a
With Carl
great
Morris at the
thing to
helm.
go and just be
Yeah, I
amongst
think Warren
like-minded people.
Gibbs's boys were looking for you, Ricky, when I...
Yeah, they like Uncle Rick, man. Come, they're some of my bodyguards. Just gonna make sure nobody was messing with me.
Yeah,
Hey,
no,
Uncle
I-
Rick, who's messing with you, man? Hey, this
I
guy's
said it earlier, man, but it's true. I saw them a couple times, man, and they're walking down they got a little bit of an entourage with them. It's pretty funny to see.
I
man.
love it, man.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right, all
they're
right.
good, man, you know, but yeah, so that was Carlton's adventures in Orlando. Again, guys, if you're at the reunions, you can't miss Carl because all of a sudden, and here's the thing, guys, you know, be on your best behavior, okay? Because that lens has a far reach, man, and so you never know if you're up to no good and you see this lens coming around the corner, you better.
You will be on at least you'll be on our show, that's for sure.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
my blackmail file. I have those all separate.
Oh, you got those? Yeah, all right, all right.
That's how he gets his upgrade to the hotel, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we need a few more beers to be able to release those.
Yeah, no kidding. So
The
now,
later
Carlton,
got
are you going to be going down to Panama in January? You think for the?
You know,
CZR?
Sherry and I went last year, and we were scheduled to stay for 12 days. But after day 3, I had to jump back up to California. So we scooted out of there pretty early before folks were really hitting it down there. So
Right.
yeah, we're planning on it. Would like to. I'm going to be going down to Panama probably in the next month or so, and meeting with the Minister of Environment about
Cleaning up their mess.
doing some help with their green waste as well.
And by the way, Sherry is one of the top interior designers of Southern Miami area.
Nice.
Oh, she's the
So
people she's
Carlton
working
doesn't get
with.
all the praise and glory. She is also a big time
she's
Dynamic
designer.
duo.
She's doing one of
Oh,
the best, one of the best baseball players in the history of the game. She's doing his big mansion right now, and it's a massive job.
That's
Huge.
She's always shared her projects with me
Good
and
for
back
her.
and forth. Yeah, right on.
yeah,
Sherry.
that's
By the way,
exciting,
she lived across the street from me, so I've known her since she was second grade. Like Elaine, Sherry, me, Lori, we all walked to first grade together.
Right on. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what else you got going on, Carlton, before we move on here to our excavating episode? What's your next gig with the society? Now, do you cover as many gigs as you can with them, or just reunion?
If I go to an event, I bring my camera, and it's a volunteer job. So I would like to go to the Christmas event this year. That's at that Saint Petersburg Yacht Club, and that's always a lot of fun.
Kelly
So I'd like
Moore's
to
area.
Try to get that.
Yeah. Hey, top left. See the girl in the black hair? That's my puppy love. That's Veronica Huffman.
Blue eyes.
Blue eyes, black hair, man. La Boca
does.
girl.
Someone came up and said, "Do you remember her?" And I said, "I just remember the eyes. I don't know her."
Hey, cuidado. I'm still the puppy love. That's a title I carry proudly.
Yeah, the girl she was with said she should put those or insure them or something.
I know, amazing. I mean, she's such a sweetheart, man. That's Canal's own girls, man. Thank you so much for that,
it
guys.
absolutely is, man. But no, and guys, you can go into the Pan Canal Societies on the Facebook page. Just click on media, right? Because there's pictures there that Carlton's taken from the previous reunions as well, and he does. I mean, just fantastic job. Carlton catches you at the right moments, man. It's always a picture that it's either a really cool look you have, because you got a picture of me a couple years ago, and it was just one of those. It just caught the right angle. I was like, that's a cool picture.
Yeah,
man.
I got one too at the pool that he did with me.
You
with
do,
the
man.
glass
You've got
of,
a knack for doing it the right way. You
Yeah,
paid attention
those
in
are
that class.
Those are some of the fun events that I get invited to. That they'll say, come to the gala. It's $1,500 a ticket, but bring your camera. And I
Right.
don't care if you only take one photo. You always capture a photo or
Yes.
that means a lot to everyone there. So, of course, with my ADD, I'm up taking pictures.
ADD. We ain't getting none of that. That came like
didn't do your
Willie's
ADD,
age group. We didn't have none of that, Carlton. Nobody said
Right.
you got ADD, you got HDD, you got PWI, whatever.
I got all of
None
them.
of us
I got
had
all of
that.
them except VIP.
Yeah, we had everything but VIP. Right.
Yeah, no, you really do though, man. There's always those, when you post your pictures on Facebook, the amount of likes and the amount of comments, and that to me is always a sign of it's resonating, right? As people will talk about it and they'll share it. You'll see a bunch of shares on it. So, man, keep doing what you're doing, dude, because it's.
I think the most likes I got on one post was about 8 or 9 million when Trump would repost some of my photos. So those were fun.
Yeah, there
Yes,
you go.
yes.
That's
Right on,
recognition there, brother. Absolutely, man. Well, you
Well,
do a
gentlemen,
bang
it's
of
good to
job.
see you
Keep
both.
doing it. Yeah, no, thank you. Thanks for taking the time
Carlton,
to do
thank
this,
you for
man.
taking the time. I know I begged you for like a whole 2 weeks for this, and you finally agreed last minute, like this morning. Goes, all right, Rick, I got some time, man. Thank
Tough
you, Carlton, man. I
negotiating,
appreciate
He's a
it.
tough
You know the
negotiator.
fanatics.
Hey, you got to be
people with that
persistent. You're not
agreement.
going to get anywhere if you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
Right
All right, give
All
big
right,
hugs to
Carlton,
Sherry, all
All right,
right?
I got important things to do. I'm going to go
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
the reruns.
Yeah, you got it, brother. Take care, man. Have a good weekend, Carlton. We'll
All right,
talk to you,
cheers,
brother.
brother.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
That was cool, man.
I love Carlton, man. I get not love. It's one of the funniest guys you'll ever meet, too, man.
He's good people, man.
By far, man. We'll make you laugh. All right,
Yeah, and
Carlton,
he's
man.
got.
Cool.
I mean, this
Appreciate
guy's
it.
he's got irons in a lot of fires, man. You talk about somebody busy, man. That guy is always
Yeah, Sherry's not going to
doing
let you.
stuff.
Sherry's not
Right,
going
no,
to
and
let you
you're absolutely right,
loaf
man.
around
Anything
and hang out on the
there, man.
couch. She'll
Yeah,
whoop
no
your ass.
kidding.
You're not eating that night.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So good stuff. That was cool. It was a lot of fun. A lot of great pictures that we capture from the Canal Zone and again the reunion. But now, listen, now we're going to switch gears. We're going to
Yes,
start
some
gradually
construction.
start talking about the Canal Zone reunion in Panama, because now second half of the year, that's where that one goes, right? And
See,
so,
Willie hasn't figured out that I have a company that's design built, right? Now we're doing architecture construction.
yeah, we're going to work it somewhere in there, some way, shape, or form, man. It's ever changing. That's for
Hi,
sure, man.
Willie, man. You agree to both. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Willie.
Hey, it's all good, brother. It's always a good time, and it's what we do, Papa. So
Yeah, let's do this construction because I love it, man. We got a good
But yeah,
show
let's do
coming up on
some
the
good excavating
excavation
stuff and
Yep.
all that. But we're gonna pay our bills real fast. here, and then
Yes,
we're gonna talk about
Howler
the
Monkey.
Bucyrus
Thank
and all
you,
that
thank
stuff,
you,
man.
thank you.
Yeah, that was cool to see Conan on that picture there, man. They're good people, man. But anyway, let's say hello to our Howler Monkey folks.
Where can I find El Fulo?
He's out there catch waves. Hey, Fulo! Fulo! Oh yeah, I know food. I'm a Steel Chef winner. You know the food competition?
Really?
Yeah, look, check out this video of my win on YouTube. The secret ingredient? Frozen shrimp. I'm gonna blow their minds. They're gonna be like, how did he do that?
Microwaved?
Trust me, dip it in the Howler Monkey Sauce Verde, you'll be blown away.
I love the balance of the garlic with the tang of the vinegar. I mean, it's classic. That's why it works so well with seafood.
Yeah. This combination of green habaneros and green bell peppers, it transforms the shrimp. Wow.
You were right. Dipping it in the Verde Howler monkey sauce, the combination of cilantro and sweet onions, man, that made a zero a hero.
Do you know a howler monkey who can describe the sweet heat of our original with authentic ají chombo peppers, or the fresh punch of Verde where habanero warmth meets crisp bell pepper? How about the bold tang of Amarillo, yellow Scotch bonnets blended with mustard seeds? And of course, our hot, the same great flavor as original, fired up with red habaneros for that fire. Our sauces are all natural, no preservatives, gluten-free, pure flavor and pure fire. Are you the next Howler Monkey spokesperson?
So the Verde, that one is a good sauce, but like I said, I like that Amarillo, man.
I love that commercial. It's hilarious, man.
Yeah, they get better each time, and the technology improves, where I can
And again, thank you guys. That's where your money goes. For us to be able to do all this stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, we're about due for probably another trivia show, maybe at the end of the month, or maybe for
Yeah,
August.
we should. I got a little trivia. I got a little trivia for you, Willie. Honey badgers are my favorite animal in the whole world. You know what you call a honey badger in Spanish?
What is it? I couldn't tell.
No, anybody out there?
Honey
Tough
badger
one,
in
tough one.
Spanish. Okay, so and
I
remember
don't
what a
even have
honey
them in
badger is,
Panama.
guys. Honey badger is a big black. Is it black, like black and
No,
white?
I'm talking
right?
about this big, but they're mean, man. They're the meanest little freaking things on earth. They're called tejon de miel. I don't know where I got that, but I got that. You know what? I'm going to tell everybody about that. That's what a honey badger in Spanish is called. Tejon de miel.
Okay. So a badger's a Tejon then, okay?
A Tejon's got to be a badger, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Frank, good to see you.
Tejon de miel.
Happy Friday
Well, we
to
got to
you.
find out if Panama, they have them in Panama. That is one
Yeah.
cool animal, man.
They're aggressive.
Hey
mean.
there,
That's
Mr.
Frank.
Dupree.
Yep, Frank.
I know he's mad at me because I'm so freaking, what side of the political spectrum I am. But he still loves me. I know he loves me no matter what, man.
We do. We just
Guys,
tune out certain things.
All my friends are on the right. I'm the only one on the left. The only single
we're not
one.
gonna
And
talk
they
about that here. We don't
beat
talk about that
me
here.
up
We don't talk about that
brutally,
here.
man.
But Jim got my howler monkey sauce at the reunion. Yes, I mean absolutely. That stuff is, and when you run out, guys, don't wait until the reunion.
Yes.
You can go on Amazon and order them there. If you're in Florida, you can
Yeah,
get them
and
at
don't forget to
Winn-Dixie's
check-
and Publix.
Target and what was the other one? And Walmart. But you have to
Okay.
check because they sell out fast.
Yeah.
So
But you
it's
can always
not
get them on
all
Amazon
the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
always get
Amazon
them
are
on
always
Amazon,
on.
and that's a great place to get them as well because
Or
they really are.
Winn-Dixie's and
Yeah.
Publix. Make sure
Yep.
you guys support them. Great sauce.
Absolutely so. Yeah, but again, we definitely appreciate those guys taking care of us. But hey, let's talk about excavating the canal, because one of the series that we're doing once a month here is we do some canal construction, and what we're doing here is this is all as part of the information I'm gathering and some of the graphics and whatnot that I'm creating for a documentary that's going to focus on construction. But unlike prior documentaries that you've seen out there, this one really is very hands-on. It almost, you can look at it almost like if you ever watch like that show How It's Made, right? Where it gets, it doesn't tell you what they make this, they tell you how they do it, how these machines work, and that's kind of what I want to focus on is I mean, and it's an impressive endeavor that they did in coming out in 1903 when a lot of the technology wasn't there, and somebody had already failed miserably just 10 years before. So you even have that hanging over your head that this is, a very daunting or impossible task. And yet the innovations and the things that the United States came up with in order to pull this off are just impressive, man.
And Willie, you mentioned earlier Andy's model. That model is going to help you visualize what that effort was like.
Yeah.
So
think about
look
it
out
this
for that
way,
model.
guys. That hill behind us that we see there, if you grew up in the zone and you lived there, we understood the size of that. It wasn't a mountain, obviously, but it was a decent sized hill, because if you went up there, you could see, I mean, the view there was fantastic. You can see the runway on one side, the admin, El Prado. You can see the bridge, the canal, the locks. You could see all the way out to Pedro Miguel locks from there, right? You had a bird's eye view of everything. And yet anybody else looks at that, they don't get that same perspective. And the same thing goes when you see these photographs of the Culebra Cut as it's being excavated. You realize what it is, but if you're used to seeing it nowadays, it's filled up with water, so you really don't see the true size and depth of it. But when you see what Andrew's doing, he's got, this thing's 40-something feet long, right? So it's not a little thing that's 3 inches tall. This thing has real depth to it, and the contours and everything about it. It really gives you a good visual that you say, wow, okay, this is what this place looked like. And now you see how much they actually dug out of that place.
And that model will help, yes.
Yeah, man, because it's just
Visualize.
massive amounts. But so anyway, so going back to what we've been doing here is, the canal, it started technically 1904, May 4th, acquisition day was when it was signed away. And that was now the Canal Zone, the entity that was going to build the canal. But the construction itself didn't start till a little bit later. And then as we've learned, we know that it went on until 1914, right? And so therefore, every year what we're going to try and do is every month cover 1 year and building up until that big opening. And if nothing else, you know what? Give it when we get to that final one, give it the grand opening it deserves, because the really sad thing about this whole Panama Canal construction history is that this global, victory over the
Mother
earth
Nature.
and everything else and Mother Nature was totally overshadowed by World War I, and so it was almost as if it never happened. And so all this sacrifice and everything that came out was like, oh yeah, it's on page 7 in the newspaper, so we're going to help it out a little bit there. And so we've done 1904, and 1904, as we said, was the year that they they took stock of what they had. They had a lot of French equipment left over, and like we talked about earlier, these guys literally dropped everything and got the hell out of there. They just left it all there, and so there was a lot of equipment that at first we thought we could use. Turns out some of it we could, a lot of it we couldn't. But
the trains we couldn't.
We did use some of them, but we eventually replaced a lot of that stuff. But
I thought the tracks were too small or something like
well,
that.
the gauge of the tracks was, but there was areas you could use them, and you might as well keep them if they were functional to move stuff, in and out of the ports.
Yeah.
There's no point in laying other stuff there.
The mail.
Correct. Yeah, but it's necessary either way, and that's one less locomotive you're going to take out of.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm not dissing the French, but their trains were tiny.
No, but here's the thing: the French equipment. One thing that the French understood was the environment and how corrosive it was to this equipment, and they figured out a way to coat everything in very thick coats of paint. And so when the U.S. came in, you had stuff that was buried and overgrown with trees and vines and dirt and everything, and they pull that stuff out, they clean it up, they repurpose it, and it starts working again. So, kudos to them in that equipment. It was not what was necessary, but it was usable.
And Willie, you mentioned in our when we were practicing that a lot of equipment that didn't use from the French, they broke it down or melted it down to retool the new
and
equipment.
that's something we're going to talk about here in just a moment. That yes, they repurposed it, and again that created these efficiencies, because if you think about a Bucyrus steam shovel that's made up in Milwaukee, and you need a part for it. There's no internet. You're not going to go online and order the part and have Amazon deliver it. The order's going to go through. It's probably not even a telegraph. It's going to be shipped via mail, the order. By the time they make it and send it back and ship it down, you've got a machine that may be down and out for several weeks or more.
Weeks, a month.
And so they figured out, hey, we gotta replenish this stuff here. So they had an amazing repair facilities in Gorgon in those areas that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But so
another good topic we should probably talk about is the machinists of Panama, the Panama Canal.
Yes, because that's always been a thing. Even if remember when we had Maurice Cohen on, he mentioned that a lot of times they'll machine their own parts because
their own parts. Yes,
they
he's
did it
the
with
guy that talked about the all the water activities around the canal. All
the support stuff for the ships.
Stuff,
yeah. So,
Zonians
but anyway,
too.
so let's take a look at this at 1907, because again, it was a pivotal year. What you have now is the term the year the dirt actually flew. Prior to that, in fact, there were complaints in 1904 and 1905. Why wasn't the dirt flying? Why weren't we moving along? And when they finally got their reports and realized, wow, we were adequate. We were so unprepared for this. And so by the time 1907 rolled around, everything had finally changed. And that's what we're going to focus on here is what happened there. Cover a couple of important stats here. And then this month with this one, we're going to focus on that Bucyrus steam shovel, because, again, I'm going to go up and see one. So it's got me all excited. I've been doing a lot of research on it. Next month, we're going to focus on some of the locomotives that they use, because the railroad was an integral part of moving all of this and making it all possible. But as you see here, 1907 was the tipping point. 15 million cubic yards of material were removed in 1907, which is just
15 million
cubic yards. Almost 11 million was by the excavators, the steam shovels, and a little under 5 million by dredges. So they were still doing it in the water too, right? Think of the channel coming in in Cologne, coming in to get to the Gatun locks. That's all coming in with water, so you're not going to get any steam shovel. You're not going to get rail in there. So it was done with the dredges.
The dredges, yes. Well, guys, just Willie and I did the math, just so you have an understanding what it is to move 15 million cubic yards. They had 32 of these massive excavators, right?
Yeah.
And with these ginormous, I think Willie's going to show us here, these ginormous buckets, right, Willie?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
All right.
That Bucyrus is just incredible. The 95-ton one was a massive one. There's no surviving ones left in the world, unfortunately. The one that I'm going to see is the model 50B, which they used in Panama as well. It was a smaller model, but it's still the same concept, same operation. It was just a bit smaller. But this Bucyrus, the 95-ton, which we'll cover here in just a moment, it really is almost the poster child of canal construction, right?
Yes,
Because what it was
yeah.
able to do was just amazing
I
operation.
mean, without it, I mean, there's no Panama Canal without
Nope.
those dredges. There's no dream. There's no nothing. There's
Culebra
no you're
Cut
going to
was-
succeed
yeah.
without those dredges.
Listen, the Culebra Cut was what they call the Continental Divide. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that is a mountain. They cut through a mountain, not a tunnel. Okay, you think of some of these railroad places in the Rockies and everywhere else up in Switzerland where they've carved these tunnels going through these mountains, and it takes years. And you're talking these tunnels that are maybe 30 feet wide,
Like
40
that-
feet wide.
like you
And
said,
here
the
you're
hill
talking
behind
about
us.
an entire channel cut through a mountain,
Yeah.
and the amount of time they did it, but. It's impressive how they did that, which we saw some of that last month. You know, the way the levels were for cutting these out, and very, very efficient way they did it. But here's another interesting stat for 1907. You had a little under 20,000 men in 1906, and a year later you had almost 30,000. So you already increased your workforce by 50% in 1 year.
and you had to house these people. This is where
you
the
had to
Tivoli
house
came
them, you
in.
had to feed them, you had to do, and you had to keep them happy, which we're going to talk about here. Some interesting things that came up there. But the other thing that happened in 1907 that was noteworthy was in August, they excavated 1.2 million cubic yards in the rainy season. Which, think about how
This
brutal
is all
that
mud.
is. And exactly, and how rough that was, and shattered all their expectations. In September, they got a note, a telegraph from Teddy Roosevelt, basically giving them a congratulations because, as he wanted, the dirt is now flying, and suddenly, and keep in mind, guys, by this point, as we learned even early on when we had Dave Dahlstrom on one time, there was canal construction tourism going on. And this is
Yes.
what was going on. The
Correct.
Panama Canal was a global event. Everybody was watching, especially when you think about it. The United States of America was not viewed as the United States of America that the world knows today back in 1903. And so a lot of people are going, look what these guys think they're going to do, something that the French couldn't do, the mighty French, because you think about it, the French, the English, these were these
They
big
were the
empires.
world power. Yeah, they were the one and
Absolutely.
twos and threes of the world back then.
So there's a lot of people that had their doubts that these new Americans.
Yeah,
over
and
there
Teddy
would be
Roosevelt
able
had
to
that reputation too.
bravado.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. So here's what the other thing that happened. In August, they asked for $8 million more. And initially, critics were saying, oh, look at this. Now the costs are ballooning. Because $8 million is a lot of money in 1904, 1907, right? That's a lot of money. But it turns out they need this money because they are starting to work so fast that they need to be able to keep up. That they're burning through their coal, they're burning through all their stuff because they're working so efficiently that they need extra money to buy more equipment and get more people there. And they're recognizing, hey, we can do this under budget and ahead of schedule the way we're moving here. So
Yeah, it was the project of the time too. I don't think there was a bigger project going on in the
no,
world.
certainly not. And for many years after, it wouldn't be surpassed as the global just challenge of the world. And it was unbelievable what they did there. But anyhow, so again, they asked for $8 million more again so they could work faster, right? And again, you think of 15 million cubic yards of dirt. That's just an unfathomable number. But interesting comparisons with what they were doing compared to the French, right? And when we first started in 1904, you have to think about it this way. We were really operating a French operation. We kind of picked up where they left off. We used a lot of their equipment because we didn't roll a bunch of stuff in there until we really started moving and knew what we wanted and needed. So we're using the French equipment and whatnot. But if you go back to the 1880s when the French were there, in that 8 years, some people say it's at 8 years, some people say 10 years. There was a couple of years of, little uncertainty there. But they excavated 70 million cubic yards, 70 million, almost 71 million cubic yards. They would excavate about 33,000 cubic yards. Now you compare that to what the Americans started doing by 1907, mind you. Now that they're full-fledged American operation, they're using very little French equipment now. The whole operation has changed. They've got the whole rail operation going and all that efficiency. So going from the bottom up on this one now, the French would do 33,000 cubic yards per month. The Americans were doing 33,000 cubic yards per day. I mean, that's just incredible. 30 times as fast, right? The excavation in a single year for the Americans in 1907 was 15 million. In 8 years, they did 70 million. So again, twice as much moving forward. And keep in mind, by now they were full force in that Clever Cut. So what they were excavating was much more difficult terrain than what the French were facing.
So if we were the World Cup of dredging, we'd be in the finals right now.
Yeah, there you go. No kidding. That's exactly right. That is absolutely right.
Right on, Zonian dredgers. Yeah. And I mean, there's a legacy. I mean, the one of the Williams brothers from the, he was in dredging that I grew up with. He's a couple years older than me, but that was the only one that I knew that was in dredging. Because that was a motley crew that was quite quiet, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And then look at down here at the bottom there. The Suez Canal took it took 10 years to make, or it was 8 or 10 years to build the Suez Canal. It would have taken the Americans 3.8 years based on as fast as they were able to move in Panama. The Kiel Canal, it's misspelled there. It's not Kiel, it's Kiel Canal. That's up in Germany. That one took about 9 years to make, and it would have taken the Americans 5 years to make. So it again shows you how, the technology that was being employed there, and just how world changing it was what they were doing there. And again, of course, the king of this was the Bucyrus 95-ton
The king,
steam
in my opinion, is those buckets.
Yeah, well, that's part of that. I mean, that's
look at the size of those buckets.
Look at that picture there, and those things were just. I mean, what was that figure, Ricky, that we were talking about?
All right, so those buckets hold 5 cubic yards each of dirt. That's pretty big. And even though that's a small number to 11 million how many cubic yards we took out, but when we did the numbers, guys, every day, 38 of those machines right there scoop 200 of those buckets every single day. 200. Yeah. I mean, 200 again doesn't sound like a big number, but 38 of them all
give us
day
an
long.
equivalent of what it would be like. What does 5 cubic yards look like?
Willie, I would. The best I can come up with is something like maybe 5 washing machines. I mean, I deal with concrete a lot and trash a lot, which is always on cubic yard. So I would say 5 washing machines all stacked up together. That's what 5 cubic yards looks like. So, 5 washing machines is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
So every day, one guy sitting there would have to operate that arm 200 times. And Willie, one of the research you did was that they could have gone faster, but what held them back was physical. Where the operators could last that long.
Yeah,
the limitation on the body. Otherwise, they could have gone faster.
It was. I mean, and it was at one point in a lot of these excavation operations, that train did not stop moving. It would crawl to a very slow pace, and They're in other words, you don't fill one car, move it up, fill another car, move it up, fill another. They're moving along, and there's maybe 3 of these excavators in a row, and each one of them is filling and filling and filling, and so pretty soon that thing is filled up.
Yeah. You guys have seen the movies, scoop, swing, dump, 200 times a day.
45 seconds. Well, here we're not gonna get ahead of ourselves, but we're gonna talk.
Yeah, I know, man.
This is interesting.
Cool. It's so interesting, man.
Right? It is.
They're for all Gamboa. That's all Gamboa boys, man. The dredging division is all Gamboa people, man.
Yeah. This is where it started.
And they were just a different breed out there. Those Gamboa boys.
It is.
And girls, of course. Sorry, guys.
No, because even today, those guys working a dredge out there, it's got to be impressive still to this day to see that massive, bucket come up, scooping up all that dirt and debris from the channels and stuff.
The Gamboa kids were more like the jungle kids. Those guys were truly the stories like, when I was growing up, I had to cross the river and there was a crocodile. Well, the Gamboa kids aren't lying.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. If you look at like compare let's say to the American colonies, you had your Philadelphias and New York and stuff. The Gamboa people would be the ones in Kentucky and Ohio that were in the frontier. That those were the ones that
those kids got bit by scorpions, snakes, you name it, man. They were immune to all that.
They had literally one road in and one in out, and that was a one-way road.
Man. Cheers to the Gambodians.
Yeah, salute to the Gambodians.
Salute, brothers, man.
So anyway, check this out. This is a quote from a steam shovel person, and then maybe it was or wasn't, but it says, "We have nicely furnished rooms with baths," and that's one thing they did. The steam shovel people were rock stars. Okay, the Canal record. Think of it. That was their spillway. That was their, SCN TV. That was whatever. That was the one piece of communication every single day. And they had these guys on there. They might as well have been football teams because they put their standings every day. How much they had excavated, and it was, I mean, you were the Tom Brady of the steam shovels if you had done your 29,000 that month or whatever it was.
Because of them, they set the rhythm.
That's absolutely right.
They
man.
set the rhythm, man.
So these guys were well taken care of. They were
Richard Grimson's wife's great grandfather, or it could have been just great grandfather, not the double great, was one of the operators.
Yeah, they were rock stars, man. They really were rock stars, those guys, because it was nonstop. This was an absolute machine working a machine. Is what they were, But, the backside of that then was, of course, the amount of people that you had to take care of. And so the scale of subsistence, 470,000 meals just in the month of June that they're providing.
Turtle soup, I'm sure.
Yeah, turtle soup. That's for another, that was another.
Hey, the Tivoli served that, man.
They did.
Anyway, sorry, we're letting
15 hotel for Americans. They had 15 hotels for Americans, and they served 30-cent meals there. Right. These are the places you could go to. The 18 mess halls for Europeans were 40 cents a day for meals there. They had 23 kitchens for the West Indians, again 30 cents a day, and they ate well. That was one of the things that was interesting is they would fly in food from England for the West Indians, because a lot of them, Barbados, Jamaica, those are obviously, former British colonies. So they had an appetite for British style food, and they would bring it in from England to keep them. I mean, they took care of everybody. You ate what was normal for you, what was comfortable, what you wanted to have.
Yeah, and that's part of that control that Steven set.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm glad we talk about that, because there is a misconception of that whole Canal Zone reasoning. Right. And it was truly to control the labor force. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, regulate the whole machine, regulate the whole operation. But it worked. All of it worked, and at the end of the day,
Hello.
Interesting situation here. They wanted to bring in strawberries, and they were bringing them in from New Orleans. They thought, hey, New Orleans right up the road there. Throw them on a ship. When they got there, they were all rotted. Complete loss of the whole ship full of strawberries. So they ended up doing that. And apparently Norfolk, and I'm going to look into this further, but Norfolk became the port to send fresh food to Panama. Not sure why that worked that way, because Norfolk's further up north. You think it would take longer or whatever, but that was the Norfolk season was when they would bring in, and start really setting that up. Another interesting thing here under the Civilizing the Jungle title, and this is again talking about that leisure, right? You're sitting in the Culebra Cut, and we're going to show you here what an awful job that was in just a moment. But how do you keep these people from not going nuts and going, hey, I'm out of here, man? Well, one, you pay them well, but the other one is, you had a lot of other activities, a lot of these clubs, organizations, women's organizations, Masonic lodges, all those kind of things were there. Look at that. Even the Sandblast had the Sandblast Tribe Number 2 Imperial Order of Red Men was what it was called. And they hosted a grand New Year's Eve mask ball. No prizes awarded for costumes, but attendees danced the old year out. And so, they made it just a fun activity, and everybody was involved. Everybody was part of this.
Wait. The Kunas were throwing the party, or everybody was dressing like a Kuna?
Well, it says the Sandblast Tribe, so it looks like they were involved.
Like when they're at the reunion when they bring the dancers.
Could be, right?
Got you for New Year's.
Miss Helen Varick Boswell arrived to organize women's clubs across the zone, because now they were starting to bring in families, right?
Yes.
Some of these guys, especially in these more, skilled required jobs, you got to be a little bit picky, but you got to offer them incentive because they recognize that their skills are needed, and so you're not going to stay there if your family's 1,000 miles away. So you're going to start creating things for the women and for the families there. It was really cool. And then check this out. This was really interesting. In August 1907, an engineer and his friend, and I don't have the names on here. I don't know why the names didn't come up on here, but they set out to walk the length of the isthmus purely for curiosity and a bet.
From La Boca, I see.
Yes.
To Bohio.
To Bohio, which was just south of Cologne. about 16 kilometers south of Cologne, about 5 or 6 miles south of Cologne.
Is that Bohil would be part of the Canal Zone or part of Panama?
Well, it's underwater now.
It's underwater now, so
Yeah.
who knows?
But it would be in that area by Gatun, in that lake area there.
Oh, got you.
So, yeah, at 6 a.m. on Saturday, they arrived, and they arrived exactly at 6 p.m. in Bohil that same evening, which is pretty amazing considering this is in 1907.
Now,
right?
Grant didn't, Ulysses Grant did it in how long?
Took him several days, and it was quite
Several
treacherous. Yeah, that's
Lost
one of
a
those
bunch
that
of
Dave
men,
Dahlstrom
too.
covered. Yeah, sure did.
So these guys are like, hold my beer. We'll be back in 12 hours. No, we'll see you in 12 hours.
Yeah, right. And look, it says here the record included being
He
held
lived in
up.
Gamboa.
They were held up for nearly 3 hours by blinding rain, like you were mentioning earlier, Ricky. That rain,
Yeah.
and so they could have done this in 9 hours. Walk from La Boca to the Atlantic side, man. That's pretty impressive, man. But and then they got to go to work Monday.
So yeah, they just did it for the heck of it. I got you.
Yeah,
The
exactly,
12-hour one.
exactly. But it was again part of the adventure of you're enjoying life in the zone, right?
Yeah, kind of the one we did too.
Yep.
Maybe not that brutal, but yeah, being a kid down there was nothing but adventure. Yeah, mechanical
Absolutely.
heartbeat, right on.
Yeah.
This is what we were talking about.
Yes, you mentioned this earlier, that the whole mechanical and that infrastructure that they were able to repurpose from the French, and we use that term a lot in 1904 and 1905, they repurposed it. So repurposing is a little bit different, right? You take a bucket dredge, for example, you might remove the bucket dredge piece out of it, and you might hook up a suction, and now it becomes a suction dredge, right? So it's been repurposed. But the other thing they did, if you had no other use for it, they had these big, massive foundries. And you think about this, when it comes to dredging and construction equipment, it's made from heavy steel, right? It's made from heavy iron, so it's quite valuable. And they would melt this down, and they would forge their own parts.
Their own parts, yeah.
And so you think about, these guys are looking at micromanaging a steam shovel that they want dumping spoil every 60 seconds onto a rail car. They want that rail car running and constantly. And so what happens when one of the gears breaks on that steam shovel? They're not going to wait and order that from Bucyrus and wait for that to arrive from Ohio. They don't want that steam shovel down for more than half a day or a day, let alone 3 or 4 weeks. So this is something that became a big project, and it says there, the canal wasn't just a digging project; it was the largest, most remote, self-sustaining manufacturing and repair facility on the face of the earth. Because you're repairing, equipment the size of an army, and you don't have the luxury of Amazon today and aircraft and quick transportation. So you had to make do, and they certainly did. You remember they found a huge area in Gorgona that the French had built a big repair facility, and it was almost intact. And
Yeah,
so
yeah. Remember that David turned us on to that story. Some big warehouse in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was in Gorgona. It was massive, and it was almost intact when they found it. And so they made that just a massive, massive repair facility that allowed them to do all these things. And so, you look at all these other pieces outside of just the, outside of the digging and everything else is all that infrastructure following it so that it maintained that efficient operation. And this one here I found really fascinating when I saw this piece here. They're talking about wealth generation. Okay. You have these guys that are working overseas. Okay. And you're going to see how much they were making, which it's going to seem like petty for us, the amounts there, but you're talking 1907. Okay. But they were subsidized to such an extent, the prices for what a lot of people would consider luxury items. Listen, the commissaries carried caviar. Okay, they wanted these people happy, and the Isthmian Canal Commission subsidized out of their budget to cut down the prices. So they were selling below market pricing on all their commissary items. So you had steaks at home. You had, the West Indians had British, fare to eat. And it was really, they really made that effort. And they made it so cheap to live there that these guys were, in 1907, they sent 122,000 postal money orders were issued totaling $3.6 million that went back to the United States. And so these people, basically what they're saying is that these guys were working for several years and they're just banking money, big money, and sending it to the United States. And you know what? When they finished this project after 10 years, they patted themselves on the back and they went home.
Right, because like us, housing was dirt cheap, food was dirt cheap, entertainment was dirt cheap.
100%. 100%.
Got it.
So like they say there, exactly 2/3 of that wealth was sent directly back to families in the United States, proving the canal was a massive economic engine for American working class. Because you had thousands of people working there, and they were, it just created a lot of wealth for the people there, while, eventually creating a lot of wealth for the United States. And fast forward 100 years later, created a whole lot of wealth for Panama, and all, through this incredible plan of building not just a canal, but an entire machine to do this, and just an amazing operation. But when it came to excavating, they kind of broke it down into two main ones. Obviously, dry excavating was on those steam shovels, right? They worked on rail lines. There wasn't, back then, guys, they didn't have the Caterpillar track like you have today. These things were only able to move on rail lines, and like that big Bucyrus one, 95 tons, that's extremely heavy. So that's the only way you really could move something like that. But then you also had your wet excavation, right? You had your approaches coming in from the Pacific and the Atlantic that was all water from the time they were working it. And so the only way you could dredge that out would be with the water dredges. So they did a lot of work.
Oh, the ones on barges, they're out there.
Yes,
got you. All right, that's
like
the
you
wet
have today from
excavation.
dredging. Yes, like the dredging division today in Balboa. That's all wet excavation.
Right. Oh yeah, I'm glad you're doing this, man. A lot of us do not know this stuff, man.
It's
right
cool,
on,
man.
Willie.
And it's so much fun to learn it. That's the best part about it. I take these canal records and I throw them into Notebook, and I say, give me a synopsis of this year, and it breaks it down for me, and it creates these amazing
AI
patterns.
has his bad things, but I tell you what, the good part of AI, really good. For architects, it's really helping. Not for drawing, Willie, but for like research, like what we do, what we use it for.
100%.
Research, it's really, really good.
No, it's a lot of fun, man. I mean, it's really, really a lot of fun what you have here. So anyway, this was the excavating, and then of course you talked about the rail. 330 train loads removed each day from Culebra Cut alone. 330 train loads. If you think that's just unbelievable, right? But they said just in Culebra alone, you had, I think they said almost 200 miles of rail lines just in that area alone, because you had so many levels. Think about it. They were in steps, like terrace steps on both sides as they built it and widened it and went deeper and deeper. And each one of those had a rail line for these dump cars. The excavators, that worked on a different kind of rail line, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. But I mean, these are just, again, massive numbers that are going on every single day. And they're being micromanaged. They had every rail car that moved was being observed by different towers, and almost like an air traffic controller does today, they were controlling all these guys, and
All the
really with
movement.
hand signals.
Yeah,
you can't hear anything.
Right, and that's that tourism that you were talking about.
Yeah,
the construction tour. People were going there by the, I guess, hundreds or thousands, just to see that operation. I've seen those pictures of the people up on the hills, all dressed in white, sitting there drinking.
Men and women.
Yeah, I've seen those pictures from back in the day.
And they're in awe of this entire thing, and which, again, going back to what you said earlier about Andrew Eftimitis and his project, because you'll be able to appreciate that, because you're going to have movement to it as well.
I can't wait till he lets us show that.
Yeah.
And he's a busy man. He's a pilot, freaking a canal pilot.
Exactly, and does this on the side.
And we're like, come on, Andy, hurry up, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, right. We did yesterday, man. Come on,
Rick, I got a couple of ships to them.
You ain't no
Come on, Andy. Come on. Be a man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So here's the other thing. Spoil trains loaded on 1,451 Lidgerwood flats. And those were those flat rail cars. They only had the one wall on them. 1,100 Western dumps that they made, and I mean, just again, remember, guys, you grew up in Balboa. That entire area was swamp and river. Okay, yep. That entire area was created one row at a time. They'd dump those trains, they'd move the tracks, and they just kept moving over. And pretty soon, all that area between Sosa and Ancon Hill was now dirt and ground that you could build on. Because prior to that, it was swamp and river.
Like it was meant to be when it was the sea level. There was never going to be any towns in the zone or any
There was going to be a dam between Sosa and Ancon Hill.
Yeah.
That was going to dam that area up to dam away the ocean.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. And instead, this is what they did. Was they created an
Stevens. Was it Stevens or Gothos that changed it to the step? Was it Stevens?
It wasn't Stevens per se. It was the committee. It was about in the.
But which administrator? The first, the second, or the third?
It was during Stevens.
That's my guy. I like Stevens.
In 1906 is when they actually changed it. But here's something interesting: 36,000 men in 1907. So that's a pretty substantial amount of people. And now they started bringing in cold storage ships, and they had cold storage. Mount Hope created that big cold storage area, right? Cristobal had a cold storage, and so now you could bring in all these other foods that wouldn't spoil and wouldn't go bad and keep your people happy. Daily subsistence supply trains they pull out, and these guys are moving constantly. I mean, it was a operation like nobody's business. And truth be told, I think this is where Goethals had that success, was because it now became a military operation, and you think of D-Day, you think of all these
all about the management,
the logistics and management,
following
for sure,
orders, absolutely.
18 mess halls, 23 kitchens, and every day, and you're serving them fresh food, fresh cooked food.
And then you get to go party at the Tivoli afterwards.
Exactly. Keeping the human machine fueled with fresh meat and vegetables daily.
Absolutely.
Right? And then, the locomotives real quick, because we went over the excavators, but and this is again 1907. They had 91 of this Class 200, and like I said, next month we will talk about the locomotives in more detail. But to give you some perspective of what was happening in 1907, this is when they realized, hey, this is doable, man. We're going to do this now. All right, what do you truly need? Okay, I need 30 more of these. I need 50 of these. Now we have an army. And that's what they did.
And what does that do? Employ Americans.
Big time.
And back in the day, Teddy Roosevelt, that's how he became president, by promising work for everybody. That's why he took on the canal. He said, "Heck, we're going for it."
Yeah, and it was. And I mean, you had all these factories in America that were producing all these locomotives and steam excavators and everything else, They ordered 27 of the Class 300 engines. They ordered 17 of the other, so a lot going on into that support, that infrastructure, because those excavators, they once that train stops moving, you are now losing money. Because you're still burning, the coal is still burning in that excavator, right? You can't put it out. And so it's not operating. You're burning that stuff away. You got to replenish it without getting a return on it from removing that spoil. So it really meant a lot to have as much rail running as quickly as you can to keep these guys moving. And then again, we go back to that Gorgona and the amount of things that they actually built and repaired. They had these massive foundries. Check this out here. This was
look. There's the bucket. It's a good sample of the bucket there. Look at the size of that freaking.
And then look at the car next to it. It's kind of smashed up a little bit, but you see that diagonal bar.
Yeah.
You see the diagonal bar on there.
That's a real picture. That's not AI. That's real. Right. That's legit. That truck's gotten hit by that bar a couple times.
Well, it's been hit by that. Probably a boulder's fallen on it. But what they did to avoid losing those is they started using the old French rail you were talking about. They would cut the pieces, and those were the spars that they were putting on these things to reinforce them.
Yeah. That's that repurposing.
Yeah. And so repairing and armoring the cars cost 50% less than shipping new parts from the U.S.
Jeez.
And you got all these tons and miles of French rail. Cut them in small pieces, weld them to the side of these cars, and now you've got reinforced cars.
Unbelievable. Hey, by the way, Willie and I stayed at a Holiday Inn last night.
Might as well, right?
Wow, this is some great stuff, Willie.
Yeah, this is fun, man. This one's good.
I'm loving this. I like this one, man.
This was my favorite research that I've done so far in this project.
Yep.
Was this.
And now you're gonna go. Now you're gonna go hang out on a Bucyrus.
I am, man. I'm so excited for that. I'm so stoked, man. But so 95 ton. That was the biggest one. That was the behemoth. Okay. 32 units of that when they ordered. There was 127, I believe, steam shovels ordered by the U.S. 77 of them were Bucyrus. They were the big dog.
And that's the one at the train station.
Yes,
by the way, guys. Yeah.
And the 32 of them were the 95 ton. The 70 ton, which is I believe that's the 50B. That's the one that I'm going to go see in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
They ordered 28 of those, and then the smaller 45-ton, that one they ordered 9 units. And those were used a lot of times to help support other rail operations, even as they started, working to start building, the town site areas and things of that nature. They were using a lot of those. The big ones, of course, were used to just get that stuff out of Culebra, because that's, that was
because you know what, it would just come down. That's another reason why the French failed.
Yep,
was they couldn't get the dirt out of there fast enough.
No, for sure. So let's learn about this Bucyrus, man. Let's learn about this amazing machine and what it did for the Panama Canal. So the 95-ton Bucyrus, sometimes it's known as the 95C. Okay, typically the numbers on those early steam excavators, regardless of what company, was indicative of the weight, the tonnage that it could support or build, or the tonnage of the machine itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one excavated blasted rock and mud, and it had different efficiency levels depending on the materials. Obviously, if you're scooping up nothing but dirt, you can go through that pretty damn fast. Steam is incredible, provides incredible power. This one had a 4,000 cubic yard single shift. Okay, so in a single shift, it could remove 4,000 cubic yards. Think about that from start to finish on that day. That's about what it would be able to move. You had 4 onboard crew. I'm going to show you guys who was sitting where and what they were doing, and then you had 6 ground crew. And this is what's interesting about this. This machine was on a rail, but it only moved about 6 to 10 feet between its scooping up and cleaning. And while it's doing its scooping up and dumping into the rail cars, that 6-man crew, first they bolt it down so it doesn't, move around and collapse. And then they start taking, think of it like hopscotch or leapfrog. They would take the rails from behind it, disassemble them, pull them up and put them on the front so that they could move it up a little bit and then just keep doing that. And that was the whole movement of that thing, was just a very small amount, by these 6 people all day long. And that was really what they were doing with this Bucyrus. Okay. Where they were working this Culebra Cup, which was the primary home for these big excavators, was that Culebra Cut. Okay. Hell's Gorge is what it was referred to at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, look, right there you can see. Look at how deep right there. You can, great example right there.
Right.
Wow.
And that was 8.75 miles of an artificial valley carved through the Continental Divide, guys. Not dirt. This was rock.
Rock.
Okay?
Yeah. That ain't no sand.
All
No
those
limestone,
guys
none of
there,
that. That's legit rock.
Those guys that are sitting on those tripods there, those are drills. They're drilling into the rock to shove dynamite in there, to shove explosives in there. Okay.
Right.
Now, here's another really absolutely fascinating thing that we touched on this last month. They had all those drills used air compressors. Okay, but it would not be practical to have a bunch of little small air compressors, because remember, back then you didn't have internal combustion engines like you do today, right? You didn't have a bunch of little gas-powered compressors. Everything was steam. So it wouldn't be practical to have hundreds or thousands of steam engines all around out there with these drills. So what they did is they had in 2 locations only, in Gorgona, and I believe the other one was in by Mount Hope or Bohio or somewhere. These were these massive compressor factories, and they actually ran hoses the entire length of that all the way out to these people with compressed air. From Gorgona. I mean, miles and miles of compressed air lines just to run these drills, to drill the holes, to blow the rock up to then excavate
Willie,
it.
this engineer hasn't been done by anybody, so these guys had to sit down and go, how are we going to get this hose from here to there? Well, let's just run a hose. What other options do we have? No other option, man. Run the hose.
Exactly. And it's compressed air, so it has to be sealed tight. It has to, it's not just some, it's
incredible.
Just the thought.
And that was the Corps of Engineers, right? Or
yes.
Corps of Engineers, because I would say, wow. Well, the
So-
Corps of Engineers does hire, private contractors as well. So
Of course they do, absolutely. And again, they're Corps of Engineers. They're not, Corps of Labormen. These guys are.
I got you. God, if I had to do my life over, I would have done a Corps of Engineer. But then again, I'm colorblind, so no, they would have never let me in there.
Yeah, you would have been. It's an interesting story. When they finally eradicated yellow fever and malaria, one of the treatments for malaria is quinine. Okay, quinine is something you get, remember in tonic water, right? Your parents drank a gin and tonic, the yellow can, it said quinine, okay? They gave them a lot of quinine. They didn't learn this until later on. One of the side effects of drinking quinine over and over and over is you go deaf. You lose your hearing. And so at some point, the amount of people dying from rail accidents because they didn't hear the damn trains coming kept going up because they were all going deaf from drinking.
Right.
So you get rid of malaria and now you go deaf.
And then from quinine came Seco Herrerano.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So that's to figure out. Well, if you're going to be deaf, you might as well at least enjoy yourself. Right. So now check this out. Here's something interesting. 120 degree Fahrenheit in Panama, in the muck of
In that big
humidity.
hole, yeah.
Okay, because there's no
wind
air
down there.
circulating. Nothing, dude.
Nothing down there, all above you.
And it's not clean air. You got all these machines going there. You got every one of those excavators has a boiler. They're burning off smoke and soot. They all have lubricant. You know, they have oil. It's a nasty, nasty environment.
You know, Willie, from what we've learned from David is one of the things that Goethals did was for these people not to leave because it was too hot and too difficult to work.
Right.
He always had a reserve army. That if you left, you were replaced like that. And the reason why he did it was because everybody there knew that if they slacked, they'd be replaced.
100%.
100%.
They demanded performance from everybody.
Right.
Yep.
So 120 degrees for those guys was like,
you got to deal with it, man.
Got to deal with it, man. Man up, toughen up.
And then, of course, we know what it was like from usually about September, October till mid-November, that the height of the rainy season. And they're still working in that stuff, and it is pouring rain, and it is just, imagine this. Imagine you have that day that you guys busted your asses, and you excavated, you moved all this spoil. You come back the next day, and it was a landslide. And
do it all over again. Yeah, that's happening to the French.
Yes, absolutely. Twice a day, they would stop, and they would detonate. They were drilling. After 4 hours of drilling, they fill it all with dynamite. Everybody stops, take a break. The horn goes off. Boom, massive explosion. Now you got a bunch of broken up rock to go again.
Yeah.
That's how they did it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like constant explosion.
Remember that every Wednesday? Was it at noon? Remember we have that same thing like that.
Yeah, the air raid horn.
Yeah, wow.
It was that loud one, man.
We all grew up with that, man. We all knew every Wednesday.
Absolutely.
That thing was off.
So here's your Bucyrus, and something interesting about this, the way this machine was set up. It was steam powered, right? And that in those days, steam was the primary engine driver. And one thing about steam is it gives you unlimited power. As long as
you can just keep asking for more and more and more.
Exactly. As long as it can hold it and you can produce the steam, it will give you more and more power. So this machine, this entire excavator actually had 3 engines in it. Okay, it had an engine in the middle, the pivot point area, right? You see in the middle, right, just above the wheels there, the tracks, and that's the engine.
Oh yeah, I see it. Where the ball bearing would be.
Yeah, and that would cause the cab to rotate or the boom to rotate, 180 degrees from where you scooped it and rotate over to where you're dumping it into the rail car. So you had one engine there. The boom itself that lifts up and down, that had its own engine, and you feed steam in it, and that caused the power to lift that thing up and bring it down. And then the third engine was up in the middle of that boom where you had that cross piece, and that's the one that would rotate that piece back and forth. And that would allow you to dig, forward as you're scooping up. And the interesting thing about that boom on that cross piece there is that it was iron. It was iron, but it was a mahogany wood inside it. It was encased in iron. And the reason for that is that wood would absorb the vibration of that boom hitting the ground constantly, because that thing would hit the rock. And you think about how big and heavy that thing is, 200 times a day, that thing is boom crashing into the ground, and it's going to vibrate that whole excavator to pieces. So they had a big giant mahogany piece of wood in there that would absorb that vibration. I thought that was kind of pretty cool, So
expensive wood, by the way, mahogany.
Yeah, well, but it's probably more expensive to repair that thing every month because it's shaking to pieces, So
we do all our windows out here, all our wood windows out of mahogany. The Victorian homes that are out here. Not what I'm talking about. They're all built out of mahogany. That's why they've lasted this long, really.
Absolutely. Yep. So here's your salaries and some interesting things about the people that worked in that excavator. You had your engineer, your shovel engineer. That's your main person. They sat on the inside. They sat where Teddy Roosevelt was sitting in that picture.
Got you.
Okay. They controlled the rotation of the whole boom to go from one side to the other and dump. And they controlled the arm lifting up and down vertically, the boom. That's the two things they controlled. Okay. $210 a month is what they made there.
Gotcha.
All right. And the interesting thing is they couldn't see what they were doing. They would rely on vibrations on the floor and resistance on the levers to see if they're moving it and digging in the right place. The next guy is the cranes man. Yeah. The cranes man, or the crane man, they would call him. He sits about halfway up in that boom on a little platform up there, and he controls that cross arm. And that cross arm literally goes forward and backward on another little engine, and that's the one that, as this thing is being lifted up, to pull out that debris, that spoil.
The counter. This is the counter.
Pushing, it's pushing it forward so it continues to dig in and up, as opposed to just coming straight up, right?
Yeah.
So they
Makes
got,
sense.
there's all this noise, so they can't hear each other, but they have to coordinate. As one guy brings it down and he starts to bring it up, the other guy's bringing it forward to scoop it up.
Look at his salary, though. This guy was important, too.
Yes, exactly.
So they were like the tugboat captains.
Yes. And he sat bolted in a seat there, which is a wooden seat. There was no padding on it, right? Because padding ain't going to last. But right? You put a cushion on there, it's going to sit.
So he was the reason why the schedule could only go so far. It was that guy right there taking all that
probably
pounding.
another one that probably appreciated that mahogany wood in that boom, because that jolting would have been brutal on him all day long like that.
Damn.
Right? Then you had your boiler fireman. You had two of these guys. And this, to me, probably would be one of the most brutal jobs. And they're making $83 a month, so they went way down in salary, but they are sitting back inside this deck, and I'll show you a picture of it here, and they're just scooping coal in there, and they're monitoring the water pressure.
Oof.
Because if it goes too far, that thing will blow, and everybody around is dead. If it goes too low, it goes out, and it's a pain in the ass to get that thing going again.
Recharge, yeah. We've seen those guys in the movies and boats and stuff.
Yep. Just like you see them on the rail cars a lot of times, and the train.
Yeah, and the rail cars too. Those guys.
In the races, the train engine, they're running, hurry up, and these guys are scooping.
Yeah, they're the guys who always get, when the bad guys take over the train, those are the guys that get killed first before they get to the conductor.
And they're the ones that are covered in soot from head to toe.
Yeah. They got to do all the fighting.
Right. And then the last one are the pitmen. You had 6 to 10 of these guys. And like I said, those guys are the ones that are outside.
Those are the grinders.
As soon as that thing moves forward and stops, they immediately put down these big wooden planks I'm going to show you here. And they bolt it down so that the thing stays steady so it can't tip over.
For sure. Yeah.
And then once they do that, they're now moving the tracks that were on the back of it to the front. So when it's ready to move again, the tracks are in place. Because that thing will use about 40 tracks the entire time. That thing moves on the same tracks over and over and over.
Yeah.
So
I guess the reason was probably why variable is because like on Monday of one week they were probably just weren't doing that much work, and then on Tuesday.
They were always doing work. Always.
Why was variable then? Why would they pay them?
It would probably be based on the size of it. Maybe the terrain around them that they have to move. Who knows? That's interesting to see. But the idea was that these machines, in order to get full efficiency out of it. The interesting thing about these guys, we talk about this whole day operation, right? Where this thing is, and I'll show you here in just a moment how coordinated it was and how they were every 45 seconds that thing was scooping up and dumping. I mean, that's how efficient of a movement it was. Mm-hmm. At night, that thing was sitting there, and guess what? In that Culebra Cut, there was trains moving. They were moving a bunch of coal and getting these guys ready for the next day's work.
In the dark, Willie? Or did you think they had light?
You had to remember, you got to replenish them every single day in the dark. Wow. At 4 a.m, they're dropping off tons of coal at all the different stations for all of these steam shovels. Mm-hmm. They got guys in there repairing them, lubricating everything, getting it ready. This one has a boom that's got a credit. Got to go in there and get it fixed overnight. At 5:30 in the morning, the starters come in. The guys that are working in this that you're seeing on the screen here.
Yeah, it's a top view, by the way. On the right, you have the coal. On the left, looks like it got some kind of water.
Yeah, and the guy, well, that's the beginning of the big water tank. Because this is the boiler, but you got a water tank that keeps feeding it water. As the steam consumes
that's
the water.
The guy on the trains.
Yes,
dumping in the coals.
Exactly.
Poor guy, man.
So these guys get
that dude's dirty every time he goes home, man.
Yeah, exactly. Blackface wasn't an offensive thing back then.
But I'm sure these guys went home looking like that, man.
That was every day. And if you didn't show up that way, they're like, dude, you were lazy today, man.
Yeah,
You
they had to
weren't
scrub
working.
those guys. Yeah. It's like coming home from football practice. You had to get
Right.
the hose down
Correct.
before you came upstairs.
Yep. You got it. Or change downstairs. If you had a Panamanian mom, she's like, quita esa ropa.
Oh yeah, no, my mom would hose us down downstairs,
Yep.
man. Everything
Yes.
came off downstairs.
But,
Came up on a
but
towel.
anyway, so these guys show up at 5:30 in the morning, and
Wow.
they start scooping it and get that fire going. And by
Right
6
on.
o'clock, they got a fire going. Now the boiler's starting to reach temperature. The rest of the crew shows up. Now you're going to start working, and that was the routine every day that you don't see on the documentaries, because you just see these guys scooping dirt. Well, that machine's got to be refueled every day. It's got to be repaired every day. All these things took place, and that was the 24 operation that most people don't realize. Right? The engineer cab, that's where this guy sat. And again, he just had the two levers to move that thing, swing it left to right, and to lift that boom up and down.
Yep. And then
And
the
that's
other
what he
guy
was
with
in
the arm.
And this is the guy with the arm.
There they
that
are,
changed-
right on. Yeah.
Yep. And there's Teddy Roosevelt. This is obviously a very famous picture of Teddy Roosevelt. He's sitting where the engineer is.
Yeah.
Okay.
The engineer sits there, right? Okay.
He would be working that entire boom to lift it up, and that entire platform to swivel and pivot left and right.
What
The
a
guy
cool
that's
job.
circled up there,
Uh-huh.
and again, look, it's not like a big comfortable chair, man. That's just a little.
That's the guy making 183 a month.
Yes. He's making a
The
little
cranes
less than
man. The
other
cranes
guy.
man. That's the
Yep.
cranes man.
And he's working the crossbar, which you can't see here. I'll show you in another picture, that moves forward and backward to keep extending out and lift up the dirt. And then he also has a rope that he pulls. When he gets over the cars, he yanks down on this rope, and the bottom of that bucket falls open and everything falls out.
And that's 200 times a day these guys would do that on
Over and over.
average.
You don't see no umbrella over this
Every
guy.
single day, 200 times.
The
One,
beating
two,
sun on
three,
you,
four,
or the
five,
pouring
six,
rain
seven.
on you, man, and you're still doing it. And you know what? Let me ask you this. How many times do you think these guys got hit with rock and debris as it's breaking up and flying?
Or close calls.
Yeah, exactly.
They get whacked. You know how we had to move up.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
what. No wonder our DNA is the way we are as kids, man. We come from these guys.
Some rough people, man. So here's the pitmen, right?
Yes.
And this is what they would run and secure these real quick, right? Ain't no waiting, man. You got to get going. These guys are getting ready
You
to
got to
start
put those
scooping.
logs down.
Put them down. Bolt
Till
that
today,
thing
it's still the
down.
same. Still the same technology today. That's how you shore today. Same thing.
That's exactly
like
it.
I said, I had a house on the side of the hill. I'm shoring that looked like that.
And these guys, pouring rain, they're still doing that. They're still running out, getting those things set up, because the dirt's got to fly, right? It just continues to fly that way. And so, again, by 1908, mid 1908, this is a synchronized mechanical fleet, okay? Moving over 3 million cubic yards per month now. They're moving by 1908. They have perfected this. The trains are moving the way they're supposed to. Those excavators are not waiting idle at all. The moment that train leaves, there's another one right behind it. And they continue to dump and fill, dump and fill, dump and fill, dump and fill. Final insight. The isthmus was not conquered by brute manpower alone. It was conquered by an unprecedented synchronization of high-capacity steam shovels, specialized Cook and Brook locomotives, and a world-class repair infrastructure that refused to let the iron die.
Absolutely. God, every
And
time
so that
anybody's in
was
the
it.
Canal Zone, go by Gamboa and give those guys a hands up.
Absolutely, man.
That all came out of there, man. Wow.
So you come into January 1st, 1908,
Mm-hmm.
and 1907, the dirt really started to fly. They really they got to the point where now you could see, you didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you knew now it was there. You'd say, hey, somebody lit that lamp over there. We're going to get around the corner and see it now. We know we can get there, right? Congressman James Mann, in December 1907, went down to see what was going on. Remember, Congress a lot of times had beef with these guys.
Because of the money they were
Yes.
spending. Yeah.
And he goes down, he goes, conditions in Panama are in most excellent shape. I predict the canal will be completed in 5 years. He was a little
In
optimistic,
1908?
but in
1 year. He was off by
1907,
1 year. Not
he was off
bad.
by, no, not bad. He goes, the foundation is laid. The French legacy has been surpassed. The invisible war on disease is won, and American civilization now thrives in the jungle. The path to 1914 is clear.
Yep. Absolutely, man.
And
That's the
is-
Canal Zone.
That's 1907, man. It was an exciting year for the Panama Canal and the construction, and it really, this is when America really was showing what they were able to do. you no
We're
longer were
brothers.
living off the French
Panamanians
legacy anymore.
and
You know,
Americans,
it was
Panamanians,
it
Americans.
really was, man. It was a
Together.
really good operation there. You know, it paved the way for what was, you know, what was to come, you know, and they knew that now 1908 was going to be an amazing year. And you know, in fact, that's, you know, kind of what one of the things that I did find out about 1908, and this is going to be really cool. We're going to try and get to this next month because August, we got a lot in the hopper in August. I don't know how we're going to juggle it all, but we're looking at doing some Canals on the Rock stuff. You know, you got your
Man, we're sorry for everybody that we keep saying, yes, we're going to do the show. We're going to do, I mean, God, we'll get to it. We'll get till December. Then we got next year. And the year after that.
Check this out. What we see in 1908. Okay, one of the big things in 1908, and we've heard about the Atlantic Division, Central Division, and Pacific Division.
Correct.
Okay, that actually didn't occur until 1908.
Galliard had the Central Division.
Yeah, but that didn't happen initially. Okay, initially it was the dry excavating division, it was the wet excavating division, and the rail division.
Mm-hmm.
And they retooled and said, wait a minute, this doesn't work this way because some of the stuff that you guys handle, we need to handle ourselves. So that's when they broke it up into areas where each one had their own rail division, their own dry, their own wet excavating.
So instead of one, they had three.
Yeah. Again, they took that bureaucracy, made it even more specialized, which created even more efficiency. Because now, listen, I might have a priority on this rail project, but that's not going to help you over on the Atlantic side.
Yeah. That makes
Right?
sense. Makes sense. No,
Yeah.
man, these guys were geniuses. Man.
They
really were,
dude.
man.
And it was
really,
why this was
really
happening,
were.
Ricky. This wasn't something.
True,
they
that's
had-
a Willie, man. That was good, brother, man.
It was fun.
A+ for Willie, man. Let's
Yeah.
hear it for Willie. Good job, hermano, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, that
Russ.
was it was very well
Willie,
done.
everybody, look at our numbers. Everybody stayed with you too, man. Right on, man. Everybody, thank you for that.
I thoroughly enjoyed doing this. It's, you know, like I said, I'm ecstatic about going to Minnesota next month. Pat Schulte, thank you so much for helping me out with this. You know, I reached out to Pat when I first saw this was going on and what the opportunity was. And it really was just to kind of, you know, pick his brain. Hey, what's the best way? Because, you know, he comes here to Tampa a lot. You know, what's the best opportunity?
What year did he graduate?
87.
87?
Yeah.
Okay. With Ralphie, no?
Yeah. And so, you know, he's like, dude, that place is only like an hour and a half from my cabin. He goes, I'll tell you what, I'll pick you up in Minneapolis. We'll stay over at the cabin and we'll drive out and visit this place. I'm like, perfect. You know, so yeah, man, it's going to work out perfect. I confirmed with him today. Everything's a go. I'll tomorrow morning, I'll get my tickets and we'll be ready to go and check out a steam shovel up in Minneapolis. But next month, guys, again, it's going to be a focus on the rail component of it. And again, 1908, a great year, you know, but stay tuned next week. Fingers crossed. We're going to have some excellent architecture coverage. And then, of course, next
clubhouse,
month,
everybody. The clubhouse next week.
The
There's
clubhouse.
4 buildings, by the way. So
Yep.
there is a lot there for us to chit chat.
You got it. So, but anyhow, again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We had a great time with this.
I did.
Spread the word. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share the channel, and you know, have yourselves all a great weekend. Thank you, Pan Canal Society, for putting on a great reunion. Looking forward to now Canals on Reunion in Panama in January. So
with Alex Reyes.
You got
Don't
it.
forget to get your howler sauce, monkey sauce.
Howler monkey sauce. Yeah, give those guys some
There's
love.
our sheet chiva.
Get
All
us
right,
out.
here comes the love part. Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts. And when I say the bottom of our hearts, we mean it, man. This is phenomenal that you guys are with us every week for us to be able to put on this show for you guys. Thank you. Everybody who donated tonight, thank you. Canals on forever.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Cheers, everybody. Ricky, gracias, papa.